All right, here we go on a Tuesday. It's Cody and Gold. Hanging out for the next 4 hours. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. You guys can always hit us up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610. A little bit later on in the show, Nate Taylor from The Athletic going to join us in studio in the noon hour, get his reaction a little bit.
A little early today.
Yeah, a little earlier on a Tuesday, noon hour. I kind of like it a little bit.
I do too. You know, lunchtime with Nate.
Yeah, it sounds like a good vibe. So we'll have Nate Taylor in studio. We'll get his thoughts on, of course, the Chiefs heading into this game against the Chargers. What we saw from the Chargers last night is something we'll actually get into here in about 10 minutes or so. But Vinnie Pasquantino, it's a Tuesday. He's going to be feeling good after the Jets got the win against the Eagles the other day. Vinnie will join us at 10:30. We'll get some insight around the NFL with our VNFL Insider. But I was keeping an eye on where things stand going forward for the Chiefs. And, you know, there's different ways to view strength of schedule and how tough schedules are and all that. And we know before the season started where the Chiefs kind of were situated in that they're playing a first-place schedule. Sure. They've been in that vibe for a while. It was funny because it updated again even after last night's game because the Chargers lost. But looking at it, man, the Chiefs have the 22nd, easiest, toughest, however you want to phrase it, schedule remaining. 22nd. It was like 18th before last night's game.
Remember going into the year when it was the toughest? The single toughest schedule in all of football? Look, the Chargers are part of the reason that this is softer. They've got them 2 more times this year, and they are currently a 2-4 team. This strength of schedule thing is basing it off of what their record currently is. But I was trying to look at it just pure objectively. What did I think before the season about these teams? What do I think about these teams now that I've seen them play an entire third of their schedule and how difficult they will be as a unit? And the answer is the schedule is way easier the rest of the way than I thought it was going to be. The Broncos and the Raiders stink. People can keep pointing out that the Raiders are 3-3 all they want. They stink. They are a bad football team. The Chargers are about the same. They didn't take some leap forward. Miami's maybe a little better. Philly's maybe a little worse, so we'll call it a wash. And then who else on their schedule impresses you? Cincinnati looks easier, at least at the moment. Green Bay's not very good. The Patriots are one of the worst teams in football. These are some of the games left on your schedule. You might have 3 of the 6 worst teams in football remaining on your schedule for a total of 6 games.
Yeah, a lot of this is the division. That's a lot of it. I mean, 2 games still, as you said, against the Chargers, against the Raiders. And you still have 1 more against the Denver Broncos. So a lot of it is that the AFC West is not a very good division yet again. And the Chargers last night was a big swing for that. And as we brought up yesterday, Sunday is now a must-win for the LA Chargers. And if you want to phrase it in a way, you could argue it's a must-win for Kansas City because they can just kind of bury them already and be done with the Chargers.
You want to win the AFC West and just be done with this whole conversation?
That's the opportunity you have. But yeah, the Chiefs, the average is the reason why they're 22nd strength of schedule the rest of the way. Below 500 is the winning percentage of the teams remaining, 492. Whereas on the flip side, you start looking at teams like Cincinnati, the toughest schedule. They're in the AFC North. Turns out everybody there has 3 wins. So that's a big reason for that. It has them as by far, by the way, the toughest schedule based off of strength of schedule left. Baltimore.
Well, they just saw the 49ers and Bills the next 2 weeks.
They do.
And the rest of their division.
And Baltimore has the second toughest, again, because of that division. So you're looking at contenders. I think this is a conversation for the number 1 seed in the AFC and how this could stack up. We know they're tied with the Dolphins for the best record in football. They're going to play each other head-to-head in a couple weeks. The Dolphins have the 5th toughest schedule remaining. They still have Kansas City, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Dallas, Baltimore, the Jets twice, which they'll be at least a problem. And then their easiest are the Patriots and the Titans remaining, whereas it lists the Chiefs as their easiest games left, as you did. Broncos, Patriots, Packers, Chargers twice, whereas the toughest still put the Raiders in the toughest category.
Okay, well, that says everything you need to know about the Chiefs' remaining schedule.
Cincy, they still put in the toughest category, which I'll agree. I'll agree with that. And then Buffalo, Miami, and Philadelphia. So the schedule is still setting up nicely and even nicer, as you said, than it was before the season. Just for context, the easiest teams, easiest schedules, plain and simple, the rest of the way. The Atlanta Falcons, the Detroit Lions, who are already 5-1, and they have the second easiest schedule the rest of the season. They get the Bears 2 more times, the Broncos, the Vikings twice, the Packers, the Chargers, and the Raiders.
Well, their division isn't very good either, which obviously helps. And now Justin Jefferson's out for who knows how long for the Vikings. So even if that game was difficult, it became less difficult kind of instantaneously. The most amazing part to this is think about how bad the rest of the teams on your schedule have to be when you do still have 3 games remaining against teams who are combined 15-4. I mean, Philly, the Bills, and Miami all are very good Super Bowl contending NFL teams. Those all remain on the Chiefs' schedule. The difference is every other team on their schedule isn't very good, it appears. Maybe the Chargers are a little bit better, or Cincy's a little bit better than their record, perhaps, right? We can talk about the Chargers in a minute, who lost last night to the Cowboys. Maybe they're a little bit better on that end, but look at it across the board. All those teams we just mentioned, the Bills have to face pretty much the same schedule. Cincinnati has to take on the Bills and the Eagles and the Chiefs still. The Chiefs, it's always the same, and I don't know if they're the Eagles, but it's the same version. Everybody has at least 3 of those heavy hitter games left on their schedule of the teams you care about in the AFC. The difference is the Chiefs have those 3 games, but a lot of the rest of the teams they play, it's not just that you know that they are better than them. They are, even with their current offensive struggles, decidedly better than Denver, the Packers, the Patriots, the Broncos. Like, so much of their schedule is teams that I'm like, I don't even currently worry about losing the game. It doesn't even feel like trap game for some of those. Green Bay is maybe the most mediocre of them, where I guess in the right moment in December at Lambeau, they catch you. But at that point, the division might be wrapped. You're 4 games away from the end of the season.
Now, lines change, as we know, but just look. You can do look-ahead lines way down the road. We know the Chiefs are 6-point favorites this weekend against the Chargers. Against Denver in a couple weeks, the look-ahead line on the road is 7. I'm guessing that'll go up. The Dolphins in Germany, they're 3.5-point favorites, Cody. Against Philly, the look-ahead line in Week 11, they're 4-point favorites. Again, in Week 12 against the Raiders, they're 5.5-point favorites. Packers, 9.5. Bills, 3.5. At New England, 9.5. Week 16 against the Raiders, 9.5. The Cincinnati Bengals, Week 17, 6. Last week of the season, toss-up, who knows who's playing. Chargers, the Chiefs are a 1-point favorite. They are favorites the rest of the way, and to your point, significant margins in most of these games, with the exception of Week 18, because nobody knows, and really the Dolphins game in Week 10, and they're still, as of right now, 3.5-point favorites in Germany.
Yeah, on a neutral site game, they're still thinking they're better, mostly because Miami's defense hasn't traveled very well. For 2 consecutive seasons hasn't traveled really well. So I think right now the odds makers are probably factoring that in. And like us in Kansas City, I assume Vegas thinks eventually the Chiefs offense will also find it. That's the other part about this that I want to think about from a schedule perspective. When you look at the Chiefs right now, we know where their struggles are, and it's offensively. So are they facing good defenses? Okay, well, the Broncos in 2 weeks, that's the league's worst defense. I mean, just horribly bad. The rest of the way, mixed bag. I mean, you don't see like a murderer's row stretch. Bills-Eagles stretch is probably one of the tougher ones. And in a league where right now there are a lot of very good defenses. But if you look at Cincinnati, their next 2 weeks are against the number 1 and number 3 scoring defenses in the NFL. For an offense that's already struggling. And they'll still get the Chiefs, who are already one of the better ones. Kansas City's schedule is just full of mediocre defenses. Fine ones, right? They're just all ranked somewhere in the middle, some dead last in the league. Great. Best case scenario, in my opinion. So heal your woes, which means all you have to do right now, all you have to do to win a Chiefs game is score 3 touchdowns. You get to 21 points. Chiefs are winning football games right now. They're the only team in the NFL who hasn't allowed more than 22 points to their opponent. And you and I both know that a pick 6 that should have never happened and a safety are included in this, 14.7 points per game they're allowing? Like, they're getting dinged on points they didn't even give up.
On the flip side, last night you had the LA Chargers out there losing to the Dallas Cowboys, and it ended like this.
First sack of the night. Herbert gets rid of it, and he's picked. Intercepted by the Cowboys. The catch is good.
Of course, on ESPN last night, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on the call. That was the game-sealing pick that won it for the Dallas Cowboys. And my goodness, you just watching that game, how many times have we seen that type of game from the Chargers where they had every opportunity to win it? Brandon Staley in the second quarter passing up points that, of course, came back to bite them later in the game. Justin Herbert late in the game throws a pick because the offensive line broke down. Micah Parsons, when it matters most, just steps up. He's a freak.
Yeah,
we know
he's
that.
pretty good.
He destroyed that offensive line the last 2 plays. That's why the interception happened. Justin Herbert had no chance. Although Herbert was off throughout much of the night, missing a lot of open targets. And I know, like, some people now are ready to say, all right, well, Justin Herbert is just not very good, or he's Phillip Rivers. We're going to be that. You might be right. I still believe what we're seeing in large part is due to his head coach and Brandon Staley and putting that team in bad situation after bad situation after bad situation, passing up points, all of that. I know Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator there now, and their first drive of the game was magnificent.
Yeah,
Scripted. It was great. Easy march right down the field. Right down the field. Yeah.
Actually won some money on Keenan
Allen's
first
touchdown. He's like 10-1 to get the first touchdown. Nice hit. But that's where I'm at with Herbert. The minute he gets another head coach, Cody, and he's still having these issues and mistakes, then I will buy into, man, he might just be a more gifted version of Phillip Rivers. But I don't think it's fair still personally to do that. Now, he's not a top 5 quarterback right now. No, you cannot tell me he's a top 5 quarterback in this league right now.
So there's 2 great things, obviously, about that loss. One, as we had mentioned in the opening segment, if the Chiefs win on Sunday, even you, somebody who doesn't like to call stuff too early, will be right in lockstep with me in saying the division's done. It's done. They'd be up 3.5 games on the Chargers. Do you really think the Chiefs are going to let up 3.5 games with 11 to play and the 22nd easiest schedule in the NFL? Hell no, not possible.
Well, the Raiders are ahead of them. So that's what's funny is because nobody's worried about the Raiders. We're talking about the Chargers being 3.5 up. The Raiders would actually still be closer, but nobody takes the Raiders seriously whatsoever.
So they can effectively end the AFC West on Sunday by winning. What I can't figure out about Justin Herbert, what fascinates me, I guess I'm curious with you too, 913-586-7610. How is it that Justin Herbert looked like one of the best quarterbacks immediately when he got in the league, right? Stepped in, immediately looked like one of the best quarterbacks. He doesn't look worse than the guy who came in the league. He actually looks exactly the same. He has been the exact same quarterback for 4 consecutive years in the NFL. And what I can't figure out is, how has he not gotten better? Look at his stats. They are nearly identical. The man goes for like 4,500 yards. He throws around 30 touchdowns on average. He'll throw around 10 picks, and his team will win 9 games. What I can't figure out is, for someone of his talent, why there has been no improvement for 4 years. He's the same quarterback he was 4 years ago. Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than he was 4 years ago, and he threw 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards.
You can say it's excuses, but I still think it's the head coach. And maybe we'll look back in a couple of years when Brandon Staley, or after this year when Brandon Staley is no longer the head coach, and he gets a offensive-minded head coach that is not going to put teams in bad spot every single week, which is what I think Justin Herbert has been in. Then maybe we all will have the consensus opinion that he is just a more athletically gifted Phillip Rivers. But I don't think I still won't say that at this point. What has happened, you're right, he's been lapped by a couple players. There was a time just about a year and a half ago where, to me, you could still make a very strong case that he was the 4th or 5th best quarterback in football. I don't know how you can say that. Not right now, not with the current system and the current coaching staff that he has in place. No, not at all.
I feel like Justin was, I don't know if this was really discussed, but outside of maybe some of the decision-making, you knew what he was when he was coming into the league. He was already very good. It's just, can he put the whole package together, and can he be elevated? I mean, he's shown statistically he's great, but it's almost like just the decision-making would help elevate his game to that next level where he does belong inside of that top 5 or top 3, if you will, as well. I feel like that whole class, you kind of knew what you were getting with who you got. It wasn't, their potential could be this. I mean, they were already very good when they came in. It's just a matter of putting the whole package together.
They're the funniest team ever, because I love that we're right back. We haven't even mentioned this whole time. We're just talking about Justin Herbert. We haven't brought back the fact that they were crowned preseason Super Bowl champs again.
That happens every
by
year.
Half the damn league, and they're 2-4.
Yeah, that happens.
2-3. I take it back. They had a bye.
That happens every week, though, and every offseason, I should say. Someone says, doesn't Dak have a bad head coach? He made it work. Okay.
Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl champion.
I know Mike McCarthy's an easy target for people.
Yeah.
But he's won a Super Bowl, and that's just flat out disrespectful. You're saying Brandon Staley is on the same level as Mike McCarthy. Stop. I'm not saying Mike McCarthy's perfect, and I'm not saying there could be an upgrade in Dallas as well from an offensive perspective. Absolutely,
that's
there could be.
That's just kind of rude to
but
Mike
come
McCarthy.
on now. Saying Mike McCarthy is just as bad as Brandon Staley is insulting. Just insulting. Not to mention Mike McCarthy is actually the one calling plays. Brandon Staley had to go get help from Kellen Moore, and it's still not really helping.
Okay, here's the problem with Brandon Staley and why you should not compare the two. I'll make this is a very simple way. Brandon Staley, as a reminder, is a defensive-minded coach. As it currently sits right now in the NFL,
where's that defense?
They have more cap space committed to the defense than anyone in the NFL. As a matter of fact, in the 3 years Brandon Staley has been the head coach of the Chargers, they have been in the top 5 of cap commitments to defensive players in the entire NFL. In those 3 years, in DVOA, his defenses have ranked 27th, 29th, and 28th. They stink.
Yep.
They stink on defense. That's what he's supposed to be good at.
Well, he's going to get fired.
Herbert's just dragging his ass along the finish line for at least good offense. He's supposed to be good at coaching defense. All they talk about is how they have like 19 Hall of Famers on that side of the ball. They can't stop a nosebleed.
Yeah, he's going to get fired. We knew coming into the season they had to make the playoffs and probably win a playoff game to keep his job. And he's obviously trending towards not even making the postseason at this present moment. So it's been a disaster. Someone last night I saw, I can't remember which national NFL writer compared. They said basically at times Brandon Staley is Jim Tomsula with a beard. That's an insult right there. You guys remember the Jim Tomsula days?
The whole beard thing was interesting.
Worst head coaches in NFL history.
Yeah, Brandon Staley's growing out the beard. It doesn't matter, buddy. It's not working for you either way.
That's usually a bad sign, though, man.
Yeah, it's like going the Todd Haley route. The Todd Haley route. Just start now. He's just going to start freaking out all the time.
He just.
At what point does he let Kellen Moore just make all of the decisions on offense? Like, if you want to go for it, Kellen, I trust you to go for it at this point because everything that I do is wrong at this point. He might as well be like George Costanza and just try to not go for it and try to kick the field goal and just see what happens. Do the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, it was just very typical from Brandon Staley. I think what happened to Brandon Staley because year one, let's not forget,
he's very good at the media.
Year one, everybody in the media,
he said a lot of the right things. Man.
Year one, everybody loved him.
Guilty.
He was Mr. Analytics guy, and so the nerdy sports analytics community loved him. And then I think some of the mainstream media, if you will, shamed him. For going for it all the time, and then he overcorrected, and now he's just lost, and he doesn't know when he should and when he shouldn't, and it's an absolute mess.
It's hard when every decision you make you think might cost you your job. So I thought that's what happened with Matt Nagy in the end of Chicago. The entire era of Matt Nagy in Chicago was not a disaster. He made the postseason a couple of times with Mitch Trubisky. Yeah. What happened was in his final year, when he knew every decision he was making could cost him his job. He started screwing up. A lot he started screwing up because that infinite pressure of, oh, dear God, if I lose. We see it happen with quarterbacks all the time. All the time. Matt Castle was okay his first year as a starter in Kansas City. But when he got to the part of his career where every pass he threw might have been his last one in a Chiefs uniform, that pressure intensifies and you start screwing things up. I assume that that's what Staley's. Staley was an okay coach who now is becoming worse due to the fact that the pressure of keeping his job is probably overwhelming. I do see the text lines like, who gets more of a pass? 5th year of Justin Herbert or 2nd year of Sky Moore? I will say this about Sky because you can rightfully be critical on Sky. The thing I don't understand that people are defending on Sky on social media right now is the people that are like, hey, somebody, our old friend of the show, Kent Swanson, sent a tweet that just compared essentially Rashee Rice has the exact same statistics already that Sky Moore had all of last season in the third of the year. And someone was like, hey, opportunity matters. I'm like, opportunity? Man's on the field every play. Yeah. What opportunity? He has less than him now.
Yeah, Sky Moore's trending towards being a bust. I still don't think you can say he's a bust yet, but he's certainly trending in that direction.
He's not defensible right now.
Yeah, he's
it's
trending
either, hey, put up numbers or don't. Yeah, I'm not defending that you're not getting a chance to.
Also, those opportunities not only this year, but last year.
Maybe there's a reason why they didn't give them to him.
Rashee Rice, we said it during camp, picked up this offense, or was picking up and still is picking up the offense quicker than Sky did last year. And therefore, there's a greater trust factor. And Sky Moore acknowledged,
he put up numbers.
Sky Moore acknowledged in the offseason that there were times pre-snap where he wasn't always in the right spot, didn't maybe always know the route, just took him longer to pick up the offense. Rashee Rice picked it up quicker, and so you're seeing him have an impact a lot quicker. But the concerning thing is what you said on Sky Moore is that here we are in year 2, and he's getting every opportunity, and still the numbers are not there. But hopefully this eventually is more about Rashee Rice than it is Sky Moore, right? That Rashee Rice is just that guy, and Sky more than it is that Sky Moore isn't, right? That's
Yeah.
what, hopefully where this trends as the season goes on as well. 913-586-7610. I have to add, this is a real thing? I'm intrigued by this from the text line.
Okay.
Someone says, can you shout me out? I'm at a Texas Roadhouse meat cutting competition.
That's a thing?
Competing against 20 different meat cutters. I didn't know that was a thing. Well, good luck. Shout out Texas Roadhouse, those rolls and cinnamon butter. Oh my goodness.
If you win, bring some of those rolls back.
We just want some rolls with the cinnamon butter,
I'll take
please.
some of the meat too. It's
fine,
I
think I told you for Thanksgiving, you can pre-order the rolls, right? And get that. And,
really?
and then, yeah.
I like making rolls for Thanksgiving.
I know, but you have to admit,
Look, I can't compete with
the Roadhouse
industry-made rolls.
The Roadhouse rolls and butter are incredible. But no, you can pre-order those and get those for Thanksgiving.
I'm looking at
Meat cutting competition for Roadhouse.
It's a very real thing. I can see it. There's qualifying rounds. Wait, is this person in the qualifying round, or is he in like the finals?
He said he's competing against 20 others. I'm guessing that's a finals, right? There's hundreds of Texas Roadhouse across the country. Cut that Dallas filet,
I'm looking at the videos of this. I would think that there is a speed cutting element, because these people are cutting it kind of like slow. Like they're working on precision rather than some of it is like weight. So you got to hey, give me a 6-ounce steak, and your job is to cut off exactly 6 ounces of steak.
They offer the fillets like a 6 and an 8 ounce, and then they got the strip. I was just there like a week ago. That's why.
I was like, what the hell? You know,
giving us the whole menu.
Yeah. Hey man, those rolls. Someone's right. The rolls, Cody, they're not going to have green onion in their rolls. They're not going to give you chipino poisoning.
That would be less offensive, a green onion in a roll.
But yeah, man.
Dessert.
Someone says you can make that butter at home. Hey, if you tell me if it matches up, because that cinnamon butter is incredible.
Butter, mimicking butter, way easier than mimicking a roll.
The combos.
They have machines to make the rolls. It's much easier for them to make the roll than it is.
So the way they do it, you can either order the rolls already done for Thanksgiving, or
pop in the oven?
or they're frozen and they're like pucks, basically,
okay, sure.
like a bag, and they're just frozen pucks. And you pop them in the oven, and you have rolls for your Thanksgiving.
For the Taft family Thanksgiving, I'm always responsible for dessert. So I've never had to be responsible for rolls.
Yeah.
Usually something pumpkin, something apple, and something chocolate is my methodology.
Okay. I mean, before we know it, we are venturing towards Thanksgiving. It's crazy.
I haven't
Middle
made
of
something
October.
for Club 610 in a while. Drew's never eaten anything I've made.
Be careful, Drew.
Maybe I should make something for the show. What would you guys like? I made that pumpkin roll that one time. You really liked that. You thought that was really good.
Honestly, it's October. I feel like it needs to be pumpkin-y.
You want something pumpkin-y. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like pumpkin, Drew?
I can't say I've had too many things that taste like pumpkin, like eaten things.
Wait, hold on. Stop.
Interesting.
You've had pumpkin pie before?
No.
What?
Hold on. I'm not saying you have to like it, but and I'm the picky eater. We know this on the show.
You've
never accidentally, even in elementary school for Thanksgiving, right, Cody? They had pumpkin pie like in elementary school.
Yeah.
No, sir. I have.
Have you had a pumpkin latte?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I've drank pumpkin flavored things. I haven't eaten anything that's
so
pumpkin
maybe
flavored.
I should make something
All
pumpkin
right, that's there you go.
Cookies
Sure,
or
there you go.
roll or something. Okay.
Keep the green onion away, please.
I'll look for some pumpkin
No
related
chipino.
desserts.
Yeah.
Chipino's good, man. I'm gonna stand by the fact that was not what got our old producer sick, or what caused him to leave.
They They went to your house for dinner. They got sick.
Yeah.
Right after eating. It can only be that, man. Man, oh man. All right, coming up next, though, we'll talk some more NFL with our VNFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. He was watching the Eagles-Jets up close and personal. Get his thoughts on that game and what he makes of the Chiefs and Chargers on Sunday.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. All things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. Doctor, when it comes to prostate cancer, what makes KCUC the best?
KCUC treats more prostate cancer than anyone else in the metro, and for that matter, in this part of the country.
What does that mean for the patient?
As part of cancer care, the patient will need a urologist, a pathologist, a medical oncologist, and a radiation oncologist. We offer specialists, board-certified specialists, in all those areas on site. It's important to a patient because they want the best possible care with the best possible outcomes with the fewest chances of side effects. Without a doubt, Kansas City Urology Care is the expert in prostate cancer therapy.
See the prostate cancer experts, Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcurology.com.
It will occur today only, from 11 till 8 only, the final day. Last 9 hours of the 2023 Super Sale at NFM.
They called it the Super Sale because that's exactly what it is. Super savings, super selection, one super credit offer.
Till it ends at 8 tonight at NFM. Create a fabulous new room at once-a-year Super Sale deals.
You'll save on new furniture, mattress sets in all sizes, home theater, kids' room furniture, lift chairs,
home office, major appliances, carpet, flooring, electronics, the list goes on and on.
$99 installation on qualifying in-store appliances and TV purchases.
Save more with 24-month financing available on qualifying purchases.
18% APR, minimum monthly payments required, exclusions apply. See store for details.
Super savings, super selection. Everything's on sale for the final hours, even those new fall arrivals in stock, ready for drive-through pickup or convenient delivery.
Hurry, the 2023 Super Sale ends at 8 tonight at NFM.
It's touchdown Kansas City when you sell your home to RexBuysKC.com. I am Mitch Holtz, voice of the Chiefs, and no company pays more than Rex, with instant cash offers on your money in as little as 7 days.
That's right, Mitch. I'm Rex, owner of RexBuysKC.com, your locally owned home buyer. We'll buy any house regardless of condition. Distressed or damaged homes, it doesn't matter. Call us now at 816-330-6000 for the best offer and instant cash.
Score a touchdown, Kansas City with Rex, and get a fair, honest deal. Facing divorce, bankruptcy, thousands in repair bills, needing to move fast, being foreclosed, or just wanting cash fast? Then contact Rex now to get your money in as little as 7 days.
We help homeowners solve their problems with options on how they can sell their home. We have no fees, no closing costs, no commissions, no open houses. We buy your house as is.
Sell your home today, worry and hassle-free, no matter what the condition, and get your money in as little as 7 days.
Call us right now at 816-330-6000 or go online to RexBuysKC.com and let us buy your home today.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The Kids Berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids. Medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Let's head out. The theater's about to close.
Wait, what does that sign say?
Warning, watch your step?
No, next to it.
If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60. I didn't know that.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road. So what if I need a new one? No problem. We have the right battery for your car, starting at only $89.99. And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Hey everyone, this is Richard Deitch, and I host the sports media of the Richard Deitch Podcast. What can you expect from this podcast? Well, each week I'll have interviews and in-depth conversations with the people who bring you the sports you love, as well as roundtables with sports media reporters about television, digital, audio, radio, print, and other forms of media. If you are interested in sports broadcasting and how you watch, listen, and read about the games you love, listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling in Belton.
Score these hot winter deals from Comfort Systems. Receive up to $1,500 in rebates on a new Lennox Ultimate Comfort System, or no payments, no interest for 6 months when financing a new Lennox system.
Comfort people is what we do. Comfort System is right for you.
All right, just getting started here on a Tuesday. College basketball will be here before we know it. We know Big 12 media days are going on today, and Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark telling the media that they are in talks with Kansas City about an extension for the men's and women's basketball tournaments in Kansas City through 2031, which is obviously great news for Kansas City. I remember a couple months ago there were the comments from Brett Yormark where he admitted that Kansas City pleasantly surprised him. You know, this is a guy coming from the East Coast, and a lot of people thought that maybe he would try to move it to Las Vegas like a lot of these other tournaments or somewhere out east, but he was pleasantly surprised by how the event went last year. We know Big 12 tournament, very important to Kansas City. So I love hearing the fact that they're considering, and it sounds like going to happen, an extension through 2031. We'll actually talk a little bit about Missouri men's basketball coach Dennis Gates, some comments he made next hour. But let's talk a little bit more about the NFL and check in with our NFL insider, our VinFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino, who was watching his Jets beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. And I must say right out of the gate, you know, you're a big league ball player. You got to get better seats, man. It looked like you were 50-yard line, row 15. You need row 10. This is unacceptable.
To be fair, it's row 13. But yeah, you know, I'm working on it, trying to get to the front row. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it was just what an exciting time for a Jets fan on Sunday.
You have to admit, right, that if the season still had Aaron Rodgers before, if we would have had you on in middle of training camp, based off of how tough the schedule looked on paper, there were some people probably thinking 4-2 or 3-3, and you guys are 3-3 without Aaron Rodgers.
3-3 was kind of my goal when you look at it realistically. My goal was 6-0, obviously, but when you look at the schedule realistically, other than embarrassing every quarterback that we've ever played, we're 3-3, and we're really excited about being there.
So I guess that's like, obviously you're mentioning what Robert Saleh mentioned after the game, which is we're embarrassing the rest of the league. I just feel like it's the year where the defenses caught up to the offenses. We go through these swings every like 5 or 6 years, Vinny. Like, if you watch the rest of the NFL, you must be seeing the same thing as us. Defenses are ruling the land right now.
Yeah, I mean, do the Jets have a very good defense, especially defensive line and good scheme? Yes, they do. But they are not the only team in the league that does that. But, hey, you got to respect the coach having a lot of confidence in his guys and be willing to, you know, say something like that. I saw a lot of, you know, just because my Twitter is connected to Kansas City a lot, I saw a lot of, oh, really, because Mahomes would have put 30 on you if you didn't slide at the 1-yard line, which that is true. Can't argue with that. But I think he was just having a little bit of fun, and I hope people relax a little bit, you know? We're just having a good time.
When you look at the AFC right now, I guess I'm curious because if you're the Jets, you're like, all right, we're 3-3. How do we find a way to squeak ourselves into the playoffs even though we lost our starting quarterback? Who do you think of the AFC teams right now that are above the Jets that you don't think are all that good?
The Steelers would probably be my first thing that I say because they have like a negative 51 point differential, which is really bad. The Jets have a negative point differential as well, but I think the Raiders are technically ahead of them right now. I've got the Jets taking them. I've looked at the schedule. I've gone through the win-loss game. I think the Jets are going to go 10-7. That's what I think. I think it's going to be they're going to be 7-7 going into the last 3 weeks of the year, and I think they beat I think it's the Commanders, Browns, Patriots. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a storybook ending to the season. They haven't beaten the Patriots in a long time. To be exact, like 2015. What they're going to do is they're going to have to go to New England last week of the season. They're going to have to win a game to get into the playoffs, and they're going to break the streak against the Patriots. I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback, but I know that they're going to win that game, and they're going to get in. They're going to go to Kansas City. I'm going to see you guys there for the first round of the playoffs, and we're going to see what's going to happen.
Wow. I mean, I like everything you were saying till the very end because Kansas City's going to have the number 1 seed, Vinny. Unfortunately, your Jets are going to have to make it to the divisional round because, the Chiefs are going to have that bye week.
Yeah, that's fine. Either way, whatever works, they're going to find their way to Kansas City. And, yeah, here's a fun story from the Jets game, though, that I've been sitting on for a few days.
All right.
So, there's a certain tight end for the Chiefs that was at the Jets game on
right.
So I'm in line for the bathroom at halftime. Obviously, the line's very long. I'm inside the club or whatever. And all of a sudden, just a ton of people basically rush to the line of the bathroom. I'm like, that's really weird. So then I go in. I'm about to, pick a spot. Spots are opening up. And I see a guy, and I'm like, that guy's massive. Like, I'm not saying I'm normally one of the biggest people in the room, but normally I don't feel small when I'm in a room. And I go, God, that guy is huge. Then I'm like, that kind of looks like Travis Kelce. That's weird. That's funny lookalike. So then I'm leaving the bathroom, and I hear the phrase, all right now, which I guess is something that he says a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And then I leave the bathroom, and I hear a bunch of people saying, Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce. And this man is just walking down the club, and he goes, I guess his seats were right outside the club or something, goes to the bar. I mean, that guy lives life, let me tell you. I mean, there was just people following him everywhere. And he's hit a new level of fame now with this TaylorSwift stuff, so good for him. Just he had security detail. It was good to see. Good to see another, guy from Kansas City being able to, just go through the people. He wasn't in a suite or anything. He was just, hanging out with the people at halftime.
Have you met Travis? Like, you guys are obviously neighbors at the sports complex. Have you had a chance to meet him?
No. I can tell you with 100% certainty he has no idea who I
am. But Pat owns part of the team, so maybe he does, right? He's got to stay up on the roster.
Well, here's the deal. We start winning a few more games across the parking lot, they'll know who we are.
There you go.
So that's what we have to do to make that happen.
I like it. Yeah, Travis was also at the Phillies game last night. He is living life. It's an incredible life right now for Travis Kelce.
He's on a mini buy right now. He's I think he was on Saturday Night Live on Saturday night.
He was. Yeah, he's everywhere. Are you an SNL guy?
Not really, because I go to sleep way earlier than that. I can't stay up to watch that. So sometimes I catch the highlights in the morning.
Fair enough. We're talking to Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL insider. Thinking of the Chiefs, though, they do have the longest winning streak in the NFL suddenly. Week 1, that loss to the Lions, if we were playing a college football resume game here, that loss doesn't look so bad with the way the Detroit Lions are playing right now. What do you make of the Chiefs here the last 5+ weeks?
They're just a really good football team. Don't they have the Broncos next weekend, too?
Yep.
Who do they have this weekend?
They have the Chargers for a chance at the AFC West crown as far as we're concerned because they have a 3.5 game lead on LA.
Wait, hold on. Are the Chargers any good?
They're 2-4. They'd be 2-3. They'd be 2-4 if they lost the Chiefs. They'd be 3.5 games back at Kansas City if they lost on Sunday.
Their head coach stinks, Vinny. That's what it is, all right? Brandon Staley stinks.
They're already 3.5 games out?
If they lose to the Chiefs this Sunday.
Oh, okay. Which, is that a primetime game? I'm assuming it is?
No, 3:15. Early afternoon slate.
Wow, little afternoon. Wow, that's a good time slot for that game. Chiefs go ahead and win, take care of the Broncos the next week. Then what are they sitting at? 6-1, 7-1?
6-1, and the next closest team in the division be the Raiders, who you openly mocked earlier, and we don't take seriously.
Yeah, I wouldn't either if I were you guys. But I mean, are the Chiefs going to lose another game the rest of the season? What's their schedule?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not gonna just roll through it and only lose one more game. I think 14 wins though is in play again suddenly for the Chiefs.
I just tell you, the scary part about the Chiefs is at some point they're going to figure out this wide receiver thing, and then the league is kind of screwed, huh? They figured out their defense, which is normally what you guys are talking about this time of year, is how we're going to figure out the defense. What a fun problem to have.
Yeah, a little spoiled. Just a little spoiled in Kansas City, Vinny. I did want to ask you, though, because we were going to get a little bit later on the show into the MVP conversation. I'm curious your answer. Who do you think is the MVP right now in the league where we've seen a lot of injuries with quarterbacks and not one quarterback really is standing out?
Probably Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
just because his numbers are just ridiculous. And like you said, nobody's really – I mean, I think it was probably Josh Allen up to 2 weeks ago, as much as that probably pains you guys to hear. It was probably him, but then he's had 2 not-so-great games, so he's probably fallen off that. Purdy had a bad week this week, which kind of – the haters of Brock Purdy are very happy about that because, people don't like him for some reason, it seems like, because he has good players on his team. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably giving it to Tyreek Hill at this current moment.
One last thing, Vinny, and then we'll let you get out of here. Someone on our text line is currently cutting meat at apparently the Texas Roadhouse Meat Cutting Regionals. I figured maybe you could give him some words of encouragement as somebody who has competed at the highest level. This man is trying to win a seat to Orlando in meat cutting.
I am like, what? I guess I would say good luck. Slow the game down. Cut the meat appropriately. Season it well. I don't really know what a meat cutting competition would look like, but, slice it thin or slice it thick, whatever you need to do. I think you just really got to slow the game down, take a few deep breaths, and play your game.
Great advice. I think I recall you when you were in the World Baseball Classic. I can't what country you were in. Taiwan. Yeah. And didn't you said, hey, it was something that was consistent or something. Didn't you have some Roadhouse?
Yeah, I've got a sensitive stomach, so I made sure I went to Texas Roadhouse in Taiwan instead of there was a lot of fish, and I'm not the biggest fish guy in the world. So found a Texas Roadhouse, made sure my stomach was all right, and then went to battle out there in Taiwan.
That's right. I thought there was something like that. All right, Vinny, appreciate it, man. We'll check in next week.
All right, see you guys.
There you go. That's Vinnie Pasquantino of the Kansas City Royals, our NFL insider. Yeah, man. Sometimes when you're, if you're overseas or even just in even state-wise, sometimes you just need the safe choice. And he didn't need an upset.
I never do that.
He didn't need the.
I am always just
if you've got like in his case, he had a baseball game for Team Italy.
Sure.
If you had like a big work event that night,
you're like,
you might be a little safer on what you're eating. That's all.
I understand. The idea of the risky food on that end, certainly.
I mean, you could go have, 48 oysters that lady had yesterday.
48 oysters?
Or 46, 48?
No, it's 48.
48?
She had 4 dozen.
48 of them.
I'll never understand.
Meat cutting competition. Regional top 5 gets to go to the final in Orlando. Okay.
Why is every final for things in Orlando?
Nicer weather. Nicer weather.
It's just warm all the time?
Yeah,
is that it?
Disney World's there if you haven't been.
Spot. Yeah, Disney World.
Just asking.
100 years of Disney. You see that last night during the broadcast?
Yeah, I've been seeing it on like everything.
Yeah.
My kid
Union
watches.
Station's expected to make some big announcement here pretty soon. I think they're gonna have like a Disney 100 exhibit or something.
Well, makes sense. And
Obviously,
the whole big documentary, they've got all their stuff on the Walt Disney buildings down there in the crossroads. Yeah. We got Disney ties in this city.
Absolutely.
Deep Disney ties. Someone says on the text line from the 816, Taiwan is famous for jellyfish salad. Would you eat jellyfish salad?
What do you think? What do you think?
You wouldn't just try it once because you're in Taiwan?
Nope.
That sounds like an interesting cuisine. I'll say that.
Jellyfish salad?
So that's a no for you.
Yeah, it's a no. Dude, I'll only eat like salmon and that's it. You think I'm venturing any? I've always told you before I all of a sudden can't eat shrimp anymore. Shrimp was like the only seafood I would eat. And you think I'm going with the jellyfish? Shrimp is as far down under as I go with the ocean.
That's it.
And I can't even go and I can't even do shrimp anymore.
You don't do like salmon or tilapia?
If really pressed salmon, but it's been 7 years since I've had salmon.
Sea bass is great. Scallops. There's so much good fish. You're missing out.
Oh,
I'll do tuna only if it's raw. I'm not eating that canned stuff. I'm not eating cat food.
The smell, man. I can smell it right now.
Tuna in oil. Have you had tuna in oil, Cody?
Yeah, I have, but that doesn't really click for me. I like ahi
Hold on,
tuna.
stop. Tuna in oil.
As opposed to tuna in water, yes.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Okay. Just checking.
Hey, we know you've at least had an oyster. So
I have.
We've covered that.
I definitely have. All right, let's get to a little college football. All 3 local schools, little college football whip around. The Jayhawks fell in Stillwater, as we know, over the weekend. And yes, there were some questionable calls. Also, 4th down decision-making, clearly an offsides. Lance Leipold is fired up as you'll ever see him after the game. But they didn't execute in the second half. They had a nice lead at halftime. And the second half, Oklahoma State was by far the better football team. Now they're on a bye week. Then it's Oklahoma top 5 Oklahoma coming to town for homecoming. The question, once again, how many times have I brought this up? Jalen Daniels, what's his back situation look like? He's had a couple weeks to rest it. He'll have this whole weekend as well. So maybe he's available for that game against Oklahoma. But now you start going through the schedule, and you're trying to figure out bowl eligibility, right? They're sitting on 5 wins. They need one more.
But they got a tough remaining schedule.
Although Texas Tech is a winnable game a little bit later on in the season. This Oklahoma State one was the big one. Last year, remember, they beat Oklahoma State to become bowl eligible. This year, they could not do that with Jason Bean, who was able to win a year ago. So I still think they'll get the necessary win to get bowl eligible based on the schedule. They get Texas Tech. They have K-State still. We mentioned Oklahoma. There's somebody else I am missing, that Cincinnati as well.
Yeah.
On the schedule.
And Cincinnati's bad.
So I think they still get to 6, but that's one they're going to be kicking themselves for a while down in Stillwater.
This doesn't have to be the year, but starting next year, it can't just be, hey, let's be bowl eligible. You got to start stacking wins where you're like, you're not just a 6-win team, Gold. You know this. You're an 8 or a 9-win team on occasion. And I think next year, that's probably when you start kicking in that pressure for Kansas. Look, they were the worst team in the Power 5. They have obviously been way better in Alliance Leipold, including this season. But yeah, I guess at some point I expect the uptick. Meanwhile, we spent a pretty good amount of time, and I thought fairly so, bagging on Drinkwitz for, hey man, you do a whole lot of talking for a man who hasn't done a whole lot of winning.
Yeah, and they're winning. Good for him.
They let LSU get away from them. They should have won that game. They should have won that game. They let that one get away from them, and I think they'll be kicking themselves as a result of it. So they could have easily let themselves down against Kentucky. They got down early against Kentucky. Everyone would have thought, hey, you need Luther Burden to be big in this game again in order to beat him. No. Man had less than 20 yards receiving, and they easily controlled the second half, including a massive fourth quarter against Kentucky for a very big conference win. Missouri right now, they're looking at the kind of season I just said. Look, they can beat South Carolina and are favored to beat South Carolina by about a touchdown this upcoming Saturday. Look, Georgia, maybe count your L's. And then you've got 3 SEC games, 2 of which should be winnable. There's a pretty good chance, I think, the expectations for Missouri the rest of the way should be win 3 of the next 5, put up a really good 9-win season in the SEC, and get yourself in a quality bowl game. This is honestly the best season Missouri has had in football since Chase Daniel was the starting quarterback.
Was Chase Daniel the quarterback their first year in the SEC? Remember the first.
Because Pinkel went. Yeah, they went to back-to-back SEC titles.
That wouldn't have been Daniel.
The first 2 years.
That's fair.
Fair
enough.
The first 2 years in the SEC, they went to the SEC title game or whatever. So.
But the other part is like they should have had a chance at that. If they'd beaten LSU, they would have had a chance at the SEC title game. That was such a missed opportunity game. I don't want to knock their entire season because they've had a very good year. But it's like, God, they were on the cusp of more this season, and because of that LSU loss a couple of weeks ago, they're sitting on it. But look, the Kentucky game could have gotten the better of them, and they didn't.
Yeah, it definitely could have. K-State, on the other hand, so they beat Texas Tech. Avery Johnson, freshman quarterback, had 5 rushing touchdowns
start him the rest of the
that
way.
game. On the depth chart for this week, they have got not 1 but 2 quarterbacks listed as QB1. It is Will Howard or Avery Johnson.
College coaches love doing that.
It's the only league in which they can actually get away with it. Like, you can't get away with the NFL level.
Correct.
You actually can have 2 starting quarterbacks in college and be fine.
No,
Florida won a national championship with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow sharing snaps.
Yeah, so I think along that line, they play TCU. They're 4-2. Avery Johnson had a better QBR. He's been getting a little bit of run over the course of the season. Will Howard has been questionable at times in terms of his health as well as his play on the field. So maybe this is a bridge year for K-State where, hey, you're probably not going to make it to the Big 12 title game if things are still a little bit sketchy the next couple of games with Will Howard. Maybe you go Avery Johnson the rest of the way and try to get him prepped for a first full year of starting next year.
Yeah, I mean, what he did this past weekend is as good as
fun.
I think the stat that I saw. No other freshman this year, period, in all of college football, has scored as many touchdowns.
He had 5 in one game.
Just insane. Something like that. I don't know if it, maybe not. Certainly in one game, but something. He's already went way up the charts there. That was awfully impressive for Avery Johnson. And yeah, there's no way they keep him off the field.
This is like, I know that I was wrong earlier on the Brady Cook thing because I thought, hey, are you sure you shouldn't be starting your talented younger quarterback? No, it turns out you should have been starting Cook the entire time for Missouri. But now where K-State is, because they've dropped some games they shouldn't, it's got to be the Avery Johnson show. He's the best athlete on the field in most of these games, it appears. I don't know why you wouldn't want to see more of him, like Drew said, before you head into next season where you could say, hey, with Avery Johnson and no Texas and Oklahoma, we're going to go out and win the Big 12 next year once we put him in.
My guess is for another week at least, they're going to keep using both. But Avery Johnson, has to be a huge part of their offense, and I think he will. That's a little college football whip around. Reminder, coming up in the noon hour today, we'll have Nate Taylor from The Athletic joining us in studio. We're also 10 minutes away from getting into the MVP race in the NFL. I asked Vinnie Pasquantino that question. We'll give our thoughts on that. And a little update on the Royals and their stadium future, downtown, Clay County, Jackson County. Anyway, we'll get to that in about 20 minutes or so. In the meantime, though, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
We go to Georgia for this one. Savannah, Georgia. I've heard it's actually a really nice area, Savannah, Georgia. You've been in that area, I think, before. Yeah, Savannah, Georgia, really nice area. When's the last time either of you got a speeding ticket?
I have in my entire life never received a speeding ticket.
That's right. That doesn't surprise me, though. We've talked about this before.
Look, the text line's got me wrong. The text line's like, Cody's the type of person to order chicken tenders. No, I'll order lots of different food. That's gold. I'm the person who drives like a grandma. Get our personality type right.
Yeah. Cody's not getting a speeding ticket.
Not getting a speeding ticket.
I believe that. There's some things I'm like, did that really happen? 100% believe that you've never had a speeding ticket. We've talked about our driving on both ends here. I haven't had one since 2016.
That's a pretty good run.
Yeah.
7 years
the last one I got, I think I told you, was a road trip from Boise, Idaho to Las Vegas. We can talk more in detail about that. What about you, Drew?
I want to say that 2018 is the last time I got one, but that one was rescinded because I had 6 months of no ticketed driving, so that one got taken off.
That's nice.
How fast were you going?
But you technically got it. I get it. You got a lawyer and he did a good job. But
you paid for it to go away, okay?
No, I did not get I paid the ticket, but I didn't get a lawyer or anything. There's a thing I don't know if it's just an Indiana thing, I guess, but if it's one of your first 2 speeding tickets, you can have it taken away if you go 6 months without a ticket.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Then it automatically is taken off your record.
Only 6 months? 6 months?
Really low bar there in Indiana.
Anyway, I bring it all up because someone in Georgia man, got a speeding ticket, and you're thinking what, right? Depends on how fast you're going, but they can range from, what, $100 and go way up from there, right? Sure. So he received a citation. He got pulled over in September. He was driving 90 in a 55, so he was cooking, okay? He was going a little fast, to say the least. He called the court trying to figure out the citation because he received it, and it had a $1.4 million fine listed.
Ooh.
He was told when he called he either had to pay it or appear in court. You're like,
I'm going to court. Yeah. I'm paying $1.4 million. I'll see you in court.
Savannah officials said anybody caught driving more than 35 over, which he was, have to appear in court, where the judge then determines the actual fine. They said that the figure was a placeholder that was automatically generated. I guess it gets your attention, right?
Yeah, it does.
And it was used by the local recorder's court. The actual fine, though, cannot exceed $1,000 in addition to state mandated
$1,000 speeding ticket, though, man. That's not just a that's a speeding ticket.
It's a Florida speeding ticket or a Georgia one.
They claim they did not issue the placeholder as a threat to scare anybody into going to court, even though it sure seems like that.
I gotta be honest.
The court says they are working on adjusting the placeholder language to avoid any future confusion.
You said 90 and a 55?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the fastest you've ever been in a car, Drew?
Fastest I've ever been in a car is 110.
And you were the driver or the passenger?
Driver.
I've driven over 100 before. The fastest I've ever driven is probably about that speed, about 100.
If you go on one of those country roads and you're in the middle of nowhere, you have to one time in your life.
So that's it. One time in a life, you got to hit triple digits. That's it.
Yeah.
By the way, we practice
I've done it more than
during
once.
The show. Do not encourage you to do so.
Yeah.
I don't know what the legal things are, but
drive safely. Certainly when we drive up to St. Joe, we always drive safely.
Mm-hmm.
Text line. Have you ever driven through Georgia?
Yeah, dude. Everyone drives way over the speed limit.
Every cop drives 30 over.
Way over the speed limit.
Is that just?
You'll get run over on the highway.
That's how I feel.
90 in the left lane.
I felt that way when I was in Dallas. So I've been to Dallas a couple times, and I've driven to Dallas. So I had my own car, and the one thing you get into the city and on the highways there. I mean, dude,
if you're not going 90, 95, you are in the way.
There's probably in Miami a little bit too, but Dallas is the one city that I've been in where I feel like, man, if you aren't going 20 over, you almost have to, because otherwise you're going to get in an accident because you're going too slow. That's
the most passenger in a car I was in a car when somebody was driving 130. That was the fastest I've ever been in a car.
I wouldn't want to be a passenger in that situation at all.
You want to be in control?
I want to be in control.
Yes. What's the?
I could see
I
Drew
would never.
zipping.
At this age, that's when you are the when you're young and you're like, I can't die. I'm unstoppable when you're like 19 and you. No, I'm saying like
I'm
that's
a
when
lot
you
better now,
feel
but
that way.
I'm a lot better now. But
I can see you having lead foot.
I can't say that if you hop on an interstate and you're just feeling it, just gunning it.
Cody
and
knows.
getting up there.
Yeah, you'll pump it up a
It's
little
just
bit.
fun.
But
I set
try
cruise
to
control in almost every situation of my driving.
I still think I drive safe, but yeah, Drew, I could see certainly in Drew's. How old? Your car's like only a year old. It looks pretty new.
Yeah, my car is.
I can see,
my car. I can put that thing into sport mode and.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's
Cook
what
that
it is.
sucker
Drew's got
up
the
there.
lead foot of the group. That's confirmed.
It's not even the lead foot. It's just every now and then I like to have a little bit
There's
of fun.
some cars where you don't even know. I saw.
I
if
agree.
you've been in a Tesla or before, some of those will You're on the highway. It's just you'll be on the highway and you don't even realize you're going 85 or whatever.
You're like, oops.
Like, oh, well, you just don't even feel like it. Anyway, that's the trash of the day. Up next, we get to the 11 o'clock hour. The MVP race, very messy right now, and the latest update on the Royals and their future stadium plans.
Chiefs fans, it's Creed Humphrey. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You're always better with a roof from JR.
Well, on the first day of fall, the only thing that was falling was hail, and a lot of it. Don't wait for some hungry, storm-chasing roofer from out of town to tell you your roof's a mess. There's an easier and safer way to know for sure. Online, from locally owned JR & Company. Just visit jrhailcheck.com. Plug in your address, and we'll pull a hail report. If there's nothing there, you have hassle-free peace of mind. And if it looks like you got hit, we'll come out and do a free inspection and help with any insurance claim. Veteran-owned JR & Company will never try to sell you a roof you don't need. But if you do need a new roof, remember, a roof from JR comes with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Just visit jrhailcheck.com.
Always better with a roof from JR.
Visit jrhailcheck.com.
Head over to Buffalo Wild Wings in Lee Summit on Thursday, November 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy music, $10 54-ounce Bud Light pitchers and wings from Buffalo Wild Wings. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly, 21 and older. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's Derek Johnson, and this season, Sheet Metal Workers Local Number 2 are awarding one lucky school a $15,000 facilities enrichment grant. Tell us in 100 words why your school deserves the grant at helpmymokenschool.com and make this the best school season ever.
Well, I want to tell you about another winner. It's my friends at Window World. They are ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They're also the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you know the Chiefs are a winner. And Window World, they have windows that are one of 2 windows that are locked in with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency over 52,000 homes in Kansas City. Plus, your windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all your parts, glass breakage, and labor. It also uses a double-strength glass. It gives it that extra strength that is not commonly used in your normal replacement windows. They are giving an incredible deal right now. They are offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 18 months, that's a year and a half. So do me this favor. Give them a call for a free home estimate. Check out the website, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Fall is right around the corner. You know winter is going to be here before you know it. I want you to get ready, and the best way to do that is with my friends at Window World.
Hey guys, Beat Up here. You hear me talking about Slim for Life all the time. You know why? Because it works. I've lost over 77 pounds in just a short time and I feel great. For me, Slim for Life is life-changing. Losing weight has some real health benefits. Lana's results were transformational. Lana, tell me about your Slim for Life journey.
I have lost 100 pounds and 75 inches to date. My cholesterol's went from 260 to about 143. Triglycerides are down and everything looks good. I feel better. You know, I can get up and move and I love it. I'm serious.
If you're ready to make that life-changing call, now is the time. It's the last week to take advantage of Slim for Life 6 weeks for only $66. And you have the option to add semaglutide medications to your plan for only $99 for your first 4 weeks. 833-SLIM today. That's the number 833-754-6863. Or you can hit them online at slim4life.com. And when you schedule that free consultation, you could win tickets to see our defending Super Bowl champions play on November 20th. All services included, exclusive of products. Make the call. Be Slim for Life. Tell them Beat Up sent you.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, this is Trent McDuffie, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Thanks for hanging out with us as always. You can hit us up on the Jay Saflan Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610.
I've just received an email. If we're interested in yet another opportunity, are you guys interested? Our friends over at Raygun, who obviously have the Cody and Gold shirt up.
Mine's on the way.
Listen longer, listen harder. Thanks to the study that says AM frequency waves can help cure erectile dysfunction. As you know, our TaylorSwift shirts were very popular, to the point that I had underestimated the interest in the shirts. I had incorrectly guessed the sizes on the shirts, and even people in our own building, including Josh Klingler's daughter, were disappointed that they were unable to get one. They've offered us another batch of shirts. These say, "Go Taylor Swift's boyfriend," with a football on it. Should we? Are you interested? 913-586-7610. If I got another batch of 50 shirts, if I sat out there on another weekday in the 11 o'clock hour, would you come back out and get more shirts? That's all I need to know. 913-586-7610. Should we do another run of Taylor Swift shirts supporting Travis Kelce's girlfriend, who's obviously been supporting him significantly? Have you seen the team she's had to watch play football?
Oh, yeah.
Bears, Jets. Like, she's watching trash teams.
Oh, no, it's the real deal. It's the real deal. The shirt, I just saw what it looked like. Yeah, I think this will be popular as well. It's a little bit different than the other one. My guess is the answer is yes, especially.
And then what if we take all the money we make from it and we put it on one 3-team parlay?
Okay.
And fund the show fund for the
let's
rest
do
of the
it.
year.
Let's do it.
Look, see, this is a problem. Nick used to be a voice of reason. Drew is a degenerate like me. Now you're on your own. Now you're forced to be the only voice of reason in the room. How's that feel?
It depends how much money are we talking about putting on
$300.
On a 3-leg parlay? Why?
To fund the show fund for the year.
I mean, it would.
For a whole year, for a calendar
What
year.
if we agreed? What if we agreed to half?
Someone says, do I have to pay? Yeah, $15. But cheap. Cheaper than they sell them on their own website. Or maybe we'll do $13 this time, because that's a big number for her, right? That seem reasonable?
That works.
$13. That's a big number for her. We'll do $13 if we do it. Someone says, absolutely. I'd 100% buy one for my daughter.
I think we'll do this. I think we'll do this again. And yeah, we'll find a date to do this. It'll be a t-shirt drop in the parking lot. And yeah, they will be
do our second t-shirt drop?
$13. I think we do this. They were very popular last time. And this time, too, now they're the red shirts as well. But if they ever break up, at least there's a chance the shirt still works because it says, if she dates another football player, then you're good.
Yeah, honestly, does it just as long as the other football player she dates wears red, you're kind of square.
It fits. It's technically not just Travis Kelce specific.
Just to give you a little possibility in terms of numbers, Cody, if you pick the Bills, Jaguars, and Lions money lines this week, $300 bags you $2,059.90.
Come on, Gold. Just 3 NFL money line bets? Doesn't that sound like fun? Doesn't that sound like show fun?
Someone says, how is the host of that betting show against betting? No.
That's a great point.
That's
Great
not,
point.
That's what it is. That's not the thing.
Come on, text line.
Why do you hate betting so
I
much?
was just asked if it is a good decision to make a $300 3-leg parlay bet, knowing that, by the way, it's not like we got $30K in the show fund. No, it's a bet. So
we have like $300 currently in the show fund.
That's why I said it's a bad bet. I told you we can do half.
Ooh, half. Okay.
We split it in half. We split it in half.
So $13 shirts, another Taylor Swift t-shirt run. And I think whatever the total ends up being, let's say we make $300, we put half in we do half of the other.
We do a half on a 4-to-1 parlay or something.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay.
We have to agree, though. This can't be like we each choose a game and we put it on there. We got to find 3 games we all like.
Yes,
sure.
agreed.
That's fun.
Because I think if we were just like we all put it on there, you're going to be like, Cody, I hate that bet. And I've been doing very poor in the station-related contest, although I did get my bet last week. I would like to know one other thing, because it seems like everyone is interested on the text line. 913-586-7610. Give me some idea of the sizes you are personally interested in, because I got to ballpark the sizes differently. I had not enough mediums the last time. Do I need some smalls?
Well, it turns out
probably
a lot of the people coming to this were buying shirts for their wife or daughter. So a little bit different demo than the normal shirts, Cody. Normally we were saying we need 2Xs or 3X, and people think we don't have big enough shirts. Well, when we're talking about Taylor Swift, there's a good chance they're buying it for their daughter or their wife or whatever. So
youth sizes, maybe?
Probably need some. I don't know if we need youth sizes, do we? I think we just need smalls. A lot of smalls.
Okay. All right. We'll get some smalls. That's why I'm asking the text line. There are still people who wanted extra larges. There are some people who wanted larges. I'm just trying to figure out which one it is. Someone says, screw getting it for my daughter. I'm getting it for me. You can do both, sir. I'll only have 50. Same thing applies. Once they're gone, they're gone. I won't oversell to one person.
Yeah, don't
maximum,
do that. Don't do that. You have to agree to that.
What? How many
don't
maximum shirts per person who shows up? 4?
3.
What's the maximum?
Unless they have someone else with them.
Okay. Maximum per person.
Don't just sell 20 to one person. That's not. We got people that are driving, trying to come to the station during a lunch break or whatever. So we'll have more details on this in the next couple days. We'll let you know. We'll try to give you guys some
Maybe next week. Maybe
notice.
Like next Thursday or Friday.
We'll try to give you guys some notice when the T-shirt drop will happen. The shirts will be $13. They're going to be great shirts from Ray Gun, high quality stuff, and we appreciate Ray Gun once again. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, still rolling.
And I'll get 51 so that the one that I get doesn't dip into the number.
Yeah. The Taylor Swift, I haven't worn it, I don't think, the one from last time. I bought it, but I don't think I've worn it yet.
Well, the one I have is the gold foil, so I just want like the one with the white lettering.
I've tried. Yeah, the other one, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't worn it yet. I'm trying to think. Drew's got to buy a couple, I think, as well.
I need to buy the listen longer, listen harder.
I did buy that.
I do need to do that.
Yeah, I bought one of those. That should be in Thursday or Friday. I'll wear that on the show.
See, already more people on the, people at the station too are interested. B-Dub wants one for his daughter, right? I mean, people at the station want these too. Yeah. It's a hot commodity.
Someone says, wait, Cody, math, 50 shirts, 13 each is $650. Well, it's because we still have to pay for the shirts.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
shirts aren't,
Bad news.
The shirts aren't free.
We're not giving the shirts.
The shirts still
money.
cost money, so that's where you got the math on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll have more information on that. Nate Taylor might want a shirt as well. He's going to join us in the 1 o'clock, or the noon hour, I'm sorry, normally 1 o'clock hour.
Tell Nate to wear it during one of the press conferences.
We're not exactly going to.
That would be phenomenal. In the
That
press
would
box?
be
We'll have him wear it in the press box. That'll go over well.
This is going to be fun. All right, we got to figure it out. It sounds like we're a go.
I asked Vinnie Pasquantino about the MVP race, thinking of betting, I guess, but about the MVP race a little bit. He said Tyreek Hill would be his pick right now because it's kind of murky. There's not a clear-cut guy through 7 weeks, now heading into week 7, I guess, through 6 weeks of the NFL season. Normally, there's a rough idea of someone being the leader in the clubhouse. Now, odds-wise, there is a slight favorite. It's Tua. He's plus 330 at FanDuel. Patrick Mahomes plus 340. Josh Allen sitting at plus 650. Jalen Hurts about 8-1. Brock Purdy 10-1. Lamar Jackson 14-1. Here's what was interesting about Pat, because nobody else has really separated themselves. Patrick Mahomes is still just right there in the thick of things. Again, he's essentially co-favorite to be the MVP, and we're talking about this offense not being where it needs to be, and he's throwing interceptions and all that. He still has more opportunities than most of these quarterbacks in primetime games. Certainly the Germany game against Tua is going to be a massive swing game, I think, Cody, for the MVP race. He's got an opportunity head-to-head, even though they're not playing each other per se. But if Mahomes outplays Tua in the Germany game, that's a big swing, as silly as that sounds.
Just in general for the MVP market?
And remember, this is a narrative-driven award. It's voted on by NFL writers, among others, that do this. And Mahomes had an uphill climb anyway because he won it a year ago. And yes, back-to-back winners have occurred, but it's challenging. There's expectations and all that. But because it's not like Josh Allen's played great. It's not like Joe Burrow has played great. Obviously, the injury, and he's out of the picture for this as well. And then Trevor Lawrence was like the popular pick, and he's been slightly disappointing this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And with Tua, you're just wondering if he's going to stay healthy all year. So Mahomes somehow is right in the middle of this MVP race despite not having great numbers yet.
I guess I was really thinking about it because before Christian McCaffrey got hurt, I think this is the first time in a long time that you should at least be allowed to make the argument that Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill to this point of the season deserved MVP votes. Tyreek Hill's on pace for 2,200 damn yards.
He's 55-1 to win it.
I know, because they don't give the award.
He's going to be the offensive player of the year, right? I mean, you take a look. That's a whole different conversation. He's plus 150.
He has been as valuable as any quarterback this year. I'll make that argument, man. Look at what he's just been just as valuable as Tua for his team. Damn. Tua's a favorite for this award, essentially, and Tyreek Hill has been just as valuable to their squad.
If you want to use Tyreek Hill as the knock on why Tua's not the MVP, then I'll listen to that argument for sure. Tyreek Hill's not winning the MVP, but if you want to say that Tua has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and all this and use that against him, sure. People, by the way, have used that against Patrick Mahomes in the past.
Can't use it against him now.
When he had Tyreek Hill, and certainly can't use it now, but when he had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, people were saying, oh, well, of course.
Shouldn't that help his narrative right now? Like, as it sits right now, shouldn't the narrative for Patrick Mahomes be he is up for he has a 5-1 team and he has nobody to throw the ball to?
That's why he's got the second best odds. I mean, there's a difference of who do we, they're two different questions, right? Who should win it? Who would you pick right now? And who would win right now, right? Because I don't disagree with you. Tyreek Hill, if in a perfect world for this conversation, shouldn't be 55-1. He should be one of the 3 most likely people to win the award.
Yes,
but we
in
know
a just world, yes.
But in the real world of winning this award and the history behind it and how the voters perceive it, he's not going to win it. Just like Christian McCaffrey, who, by the way, has half the odds as Tyreek Hill. He's 24-1 to win it. And he's got an oblique injury. We'll see the status. He doesn't play till Monday night, so we may not know for a little while.
Well, and they talked yesterday in the meeting. They just said, we're looking at it. He's getting an MRI.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing as the Chiefs. We just don't know.
It's going to end up being Tyreek Hill winning the Offensive Player of the Year award, and then the MVP will be a quarterback.
It feels pretty open. I will say this. The race does feel very open. If Brock Purdy hadn't laid an egg, he'd have had almost the same odds as Tua and Patrick Mahomes. You got to think that Jalen Hurts could go on a run. Josh Allen, the biggest problem right now, like if you were going to bet this, let's just say, hey, Gold, we're going to actually take that money that we were talking about. I said, let's put it on a 3-team NFL parlay.
Yeah.
The $200 or whatever we're going to put on I don't even think we'd profit that much. The shirts cost money. We're pretty much giving it to you for free. But let's say we got $200 from the shirts. We're going to put $100 on a 3-leg parlay to win $500 or whatever. We're trying to get something at 5-1. I don't think it would make sense to put it on Mahomes at 4-1 yet when you can still get odds on guys like Goff or Hurts or Allen. Like you just get better odds on guys that could win the conference, could win their division, and could win the MVP.
Jalen Hurts has not been as impressive as a year ago, and he obviously had a bad game this past weekend. Preseason, he was like 10-1. That was preseason. I had a ticket on him and Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Rodgers is hurt for the season. Jalen Hurts at 850 still is still in the competition for this as well. The one, if you're asking like who's way further back that has a chance to rise up, I still think you keep an eye on Lamar Jackson at 14-1 if the Ravens were to win that division, and he starts looking more like the MVP. And then Jared Goff, he's not the sexy name, and narrative-wise it's tough. But if the Lions end up winning 14 games, Jared Goff, fantasy football-wise, is the number 4 quarterback in a lot of leagues, depending on scoring. Jared Goff is got an uphill battle because of the name. But at 19-1, I don't hate a little small sprinkle.
Yeah, that's it. It's that end of it. It feels very open. I'll say this, having watched Mahomes play every game this year and every snap, surprised he's an MVP favorite. They're 5-1.
It's because Josh Allen's had bad games.
I know.
Tua is the only one that hasn't actually really had a bad game yet, but everybody's still skeptical and are going to use the fact that he has Tyreek Hill and Waddle against him. Jalen Hurts has had a bad game. Brock Purdy just had a bad game. Lamar Jackson's had a bad game. Trevor Lawrence has had a bad game. Like this is why it's so jumbled, and Joe Burrow hasn't been healthy, so he's way behind on the statistical categories right now.
I'd be surprised if Joe Burrow could re-enter this conversation.
He's 35-1. He has worse odds than Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, and Christian McCaffrey.
Worse than Justin Herbert? Are these updated?
They are. Yep.
Worse than Justin
These are
Herbert.
right now
Joe
on
Burrow
the old FanDuel app.
Joe, I think he might have 2 games under 100 yards passing this year. Like he might have to go on a stretch of like 400.
Too far back.
Yeah, he might have to go on a stretch of 400-yard games and multiple touchdowns and no picks.
Yeah, that creates a whole nother problem.
Plus the schedule, as we talked about as well.
Meanwhile, in baseball, we continue to have questions about the Royal Stadium. Remember, there was once a deadline of, we're going to decide by the end of summer.
That was like September 20-something.
Okay, so it's been a month. I don't know that I was anticipating a quick turnaround once they pushed that deadline back about a week before summer ended. They were like, yeah, we're not going to know by then. The most recent Casey Business Journal article up on the fact. Normally, I don't read that.
Shout out Casey Business Journal. See, it told you it's beneficial, man.
In this case.
You never know what you're going to read.
Credit where credit's due. I think some of this information is a little bit older, but the thing that is interesting to me is two things Jackson County either did in the past and is doing now that is interesting. One, they are trying to find a way that is not just an extension of the sales tax to pay for it, which has been the Royals' language and how they would like to get the money from the county in order to pay for it. So that creates an extra hurdle. And the fact that now they're asking if they can bring in people to help them sort through what they should be giving up. To me, Jackson County is desperately trying to avoid looking like they got fleeced in this deal from the Royals. And when it comes out publicly, they want to look like we're getting the way better end of this deal. To me, that leaves open the crack door possibility that things could fall apart. The fact that you got to bring an outside counsel in order to close this thing with an organization you've had a decade to work out these kinds of numbers with points to me that they still could pull the ripcord of Clay County, but also says they clearly want this thing in Jackson County.
I still think that's the preference. Now, I'll say as far as like the bringing, hiring outside legal representation and firm, I believe the Royals also, were agreed to that as well to try to get this thing moved along. And I don't know how unheard of that is. I would have to do some more digging. I'm guessing it's not that crazy that you're seeking outside.
I'm just saying, like, you're asking for it a month after your original deadline if you're the Royals, Sure. But does that also show signs that they're getting closer to figuring out terms? I don't know. Now, the latest update from the Business Journal, though, was what you said, which is Jackson County has basically counteroffered to the Royals to have a different avenue of funding the stadium. Under the counteroffer, again, this comes from the KC Business Journal, the county would pay $15 million a year for 20 years, which gets you to $30 million. $300 million.
Or $300 million. And so that's a way for them to do it without having the sales tax extension. And that is interesting with knowing the Chiefs are on the other side here, that they, of course, would want money from a sales tax extension.
Do you think that this is that the Chiefs want that entire percentage to themselves? Like they want $600 million? Why is it that the county is trying to separate these when they've been together for so long and it's easy to keep them together? People in Jackson County have been paying that sales tax for 20, 30 years. It won't look any different for you. It doesn't feel any different for you. You're not asking them to create new barriers in each to fund this. Are the Chiefs, who I have continued to argue have been sneaky quiet in this whole thing to avoid any controversy, part of that makes me feel like in the negotiation, the Chiefs are like, a simple extension of that sales tax isn't quite the dollar figure we're looking for. We're looking for a little more in that number, and that's why they're trying to separate them. Explain to me any other reason why they're trying to separate the sales tax incentive.
Yeah, it's a way to keep both.
These two teams are asking for two different amounts of money.
It's potentially the path to keeping both in Jackson County, right? That one team needs the sales tax extension. It's not going to cover two teams anymore. Potentially, right? These are all proposals, reported proposals and counteroffers that are out there. It also mentions in the same article that the Chiefs perhaps would like a shorter lease than the typical 30. They would like it 25. Some reasons.
But sure.
Yeah. So that's where things stand.
That
but
makes
yes,
me feel like they want to renovate Arrowhead and they still want to tear it down and eventually build a new one. The 25 years is like, we'd like to keep Arrowhead for a little while longer, but not forever. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the public comments have certainly led you in the direction believing that the Chiefs would prefer the renovation route.
All right, Halloween over. Stadium decision?
Oh, over. I think you asked me a couple weeks ago, and I said it's going to be closer to Thanksgiving before we find out which site the Royals are going to.
I just want to know. Problem with this now is I just want to know. I just want to know where the stadium's going.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people
I want to
know.
know. I want to know how much money you want, and I want to know exactly what the city's offering. How about that? I know what the Royals want monetarily. They've kind of made that clear at this point. They said an extension of the sales tax. We know it's between $300 and $400 million they're seeking essentially in public funds, and then some infrastructure stuff around the stadium to it. But what I want to know is where the hell the stadium's going.
Meanwhile, Clay County is basically sounds like given all the terms and everything they're willing to do to the Royals, and
it's like, hey, if you like us, we're here.
We're over here. Wave. If things really don't happen over in Jackson County, we're here for you.
The longer it takes, the more likely it is that Clay County somehow swoops in there last minute, like the Sporting KC Stadium, and just is like, oops, it's in Clay County now. Because I think we can tell every piece of the language before, in the middle, and now during this conversation indicate to you and I that they want to be at that downtown East Village location. But there are barriers that could prevent it from happening, although it still feels like a long shot to me that it ended up in Clay County. The rendering was cool, though.
Look, we've said it when the renders came out. Both sites will be incredible, whichever they determine, and it'll be...
It's location we're talking here.
But it's location, and I've told you, I think you're in agreement, I want downtown baseball. And I get it. It's a small drive. I understand North KC's not an hour away. I get it. But it's not downtown baseball, right? So, yes, I would prefer the downtown site over the Clay County site. But if you told me ultimately it ended up going to Clay County, I would still be excited for what that means and what that means for a game day element and atmosphere and before and after the game and everything that goes with that. But it's just amazing that there's still all the and you start to just timeline wise, getting this thing opened up. I mean, there are real deadlines if they want to have it ready for opening day 2028, and we know as of right now the target is a ballot measure in April. We'll see if that actually is what happens or not. Like you have to more than understand to be skeptical.
How many ballot measures are they going to miss? They originally mentioned the August one. They didn't get anywhere close to that one. They didn't have a stadium site announced yet. I can't believe it's going to be closer to Thanksgiving. That's a bummer.
Well, I'm just guessing.
No,
it feels like that's the direction we're certainly
Look,
heading.
What can I argue? The other side? No, I think they're going to come to a decision probably by tomorrow, maybe the next day.
Yeah.
There's no indication that it's going to be tomorrow, right? It's more indication that it's going to be a month from now that at least bleeds us into it. One of these days we'll figure it out, Gold. One of these days we'll get to come on the air and be like, they've got a site. Now will it pass? Because that becomes the biggest.
But then it's the real campaign. Then it's the real campaign for the Royals to, get involved and figure out exactly making sure.
Man, one commercial with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce linked arm in arm, be like, downtown baseball's cool. That's it. Done. Boom. Pass. The two most popular sports figures on the planet right now. That's it. If you can convince, you can definitely convince Patrick Mahomes because he's a co-owner of the team.
Well, no, we've said if they're attached to the Chiefs at all, then it's done. The question is if it gets separated.
But the way they're describing is Jackson County wants both, but not tied together both. Do you see
Well, both would not be potentially in a counteroffer.
Yeah.
This is just a counter proposal that they put out there. We don't know, by the way, was this counter
And that
proposal?
counter proposal was 4 months
exactly. ago. Was that last week? Probably not. Was it 5 months ago? Maybe so. And so if that was the case, then
maybe,
But you may be correct, though, publicly, right? Publicly, if you're the county and if you're legislators, you want to show that you're fighting for the public, right? On making sure that your dollars are,
And again, Jackson County had a very bad PR year.
You think?
Real bad.
You think?
Like
Someone
every
says,
single person who lived in Jackson County was mad at them when their houses were apparently all worth $400 million.
Someone says East Village is not downtown baseball. Well, I'll tell you, North KC sure as hell isn't. So I don't know if each village is in downtown. They weren't gonna tell me were they gonna put the stadium right?
He wanted it literally in the center. Bulldoze all the
right
the
where
biggest
where Bartle Hall is. Just drop it right there. I guess. Like, come
It's
on.
decidedly downtown.
It's
on the edge of downtown.
Sure.
I'll
Turns
argue that.
out, Cody, when you're trying to build a massive stadium, you might have to find the area that's not as developed in said downtown to actually build stadium.
That's interesting.
I know,
wouldn't have
right?
thought about that.
Someone says, to quote Taylor Swift, Clay County is telling the Royals, you belong with me. Get Taylor Swift involved. Settle this real quick. All right, coming up next, though, we'll get to the Chiefs Red Half
Get ready to
Hour.
announce it.
Back into about a third of the way through the season, and the schedule continues to look better and better for the Chiefs.
Cody and Gold.
People always call us like a bleak show. The idea of you having to come on the air the next day and being like, Cody died in that blimp crash is hilarious to me. That's objectively funny.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
The next generation of streaming is here. Introducing Spectrum One Stream, bringing together internet, advanced Wi-Fi, mobile, and now TV with the all-new Xumo Stream Box. Get fast and reliable internet for $49.99 a month, free advanced Wi-Fi, a free unlimited Spectrum mobile line, and a free Xumo Stream Box when you add Spectrum TV. Spectrum One Stream. It's streaming simplified. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store for details. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Dispatch, this is Mindy. Ignition, plumbing, heating, and cooling. You know, you don't have to put off fixing plumbing problems in your home anymore. I mean, you could just ignore that clogged drain or visit missionphc.com to take care of your plumbing problems. Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. License 202058.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Get a new car at a used car price during our 2023 surplus sale. I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. We have huge discounts on all remaining 23 Volkswagen models.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV.
Get our lowest prices of the year at the #1 VW dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Claim based on 2022 VW retail reports. Financing through VCI OAC.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs. Everyone develops cataracts naturally as they get older. When your vision is affected by cataracts, you should see my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein at Silverstein Eye Centers. Dr. Silverstein is a world-renowned cataract surgeon who performs life-changing laser-assisted cataract surgery with premium lens implants to correct your vision up close and far away. Trust my eye doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein, Silverstein Eye Centers, 816-358-3600 to schedule an appointment.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be present in a state where lawful to wager, must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
It's time for some football. Make it easy with Old Shawnee Pizza and their Tuesday special. Any single topping pizza is just $12.99. Call or go to ShawneePizza.com to order. Old Shawnee Pizza, now with 3 locations, Shawnee, Lenexa, and now carry out in the Crossroads.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, Total Wine & More has all your Halloween favorites at the totally lowest prices.
Economical.
Find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Mostly sunny with a few clouds, nice, high 71. Weather brought to you by Barbasol Shaving Cream. Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. Close shave, America. Close shave Barbasol.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
All right, it's the Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Again, Nate Taylor going to join us in studio in about a half hour. Nate Taylor from The Athletic. Good perspective from him. We'll ask him about this schedule for the Chiefs, which I know it's about a quarter or a third of the way, I should say, way through the season. And before the year, schedule-wise, you're playing a lot of first-place teams. It's going to be one of the tougher schedules in football. And things can change quickly, as we know in the NFL. It's changed in a very good direction on paper, schedule-wise. I was looking at, there's a website that breaks down, the draft order, but also goes through and gives the remaining strength of schedule. It's called Tankathon, and they update it daily, basically. And as the games are getting played, and they updated it right after the Chargers game last night, and now the Chargers are below 500, so it was more favorable for the Chiefs. The Chiefs now have the 22nd toughest or easiest schedule remaining the rest of the way. their opponent winning percentage is below 500. They are looking at a schedule that, tough game-wise, Philadelphia, Miami, no doubt, Buffalo, Cincinnati probably still, we'll see. They factor in the Raiders as 2 tough games because of their schedule. But
decidedly aren't, but that's fine.
But they're easiest on paper. The Broncos, we know again. The Patriots, the Packers, and then they have the Chargers twice, even though let's flip the Chargers and Raiders. I think we all know the Chargers game will still be more.
Let's call the Chargers one's tough,
so it's even,
and the Raiders
But, dude,
one's
like, when we're talking about number 1 seed implications, you got 5 wins. You're 5-1. You're tied with the Miami Dolphins, who you'll play head-to-head later. You're in position trying to get the number 1 seed. Nobody's worried about you making the postseason or anything like that. Well, teams that can actually challenge you for the 1 seed in the AFC, the Dolphins have the 5th toughest schedule remaining in football. Another team that maybe has a chance to factor into this conversation from a number 1 seed perspective, maybe is Buffalo. They have the 17th. They're very similar schedule to you remaining. And then if you really think the Jacksonville Jaguars could get hot, they actually have the 21st toughest or easiest. So they're the one team that still has, before the season, the Jags looked like one of the easiest schedules. What if I told you the rest of the way the Chiefs actually have an easier schedule than Jacksonville, and they already have another win and the tiebreaker on top?
And if you could have told me before the season that the Jets and the Cincinnati might not have been in the postseason, considering what their team's like before the year, now even more so. The Jets with that defense, if they actually had Aaron Rodgers, they might have been a 4 or 5 win team right now. We probably would have been talking about them as one of the better teams in the AFC. But because Cincinnati has the most difficult remaining schedule out of any team in all the NFL, I still feel like their chances of missing the postseason are pretty strong. And then we go back through, like you said, the other ones. This is great news for the Chiefs, mostly because I don't think it's fake. I think when I look at the actual schedule, you're right. If I just simply flip the Raiders for the Chargers is level of difficulty for the schedule. There are tough games left on the schedule, just like there were going into the year. But there are some ones that I thought might have been like a bit salty and just don't look that way. I'll be honest, the Packers don't really scare me. Even in Lambeau, they have not looked like that difficult a team. The Patriots are one of the worst teams in football. The Broncos, you even admitted before the season, you'd have thought the Broncos, that was at least a possibility of a 1-1 record, right? They could have been a problem.
No,
they're not a problem.
Historically
They're
bad defense. They're awful.
And so when you start going through the schedule, you realize how many just straight up bad teams there are remaining on the schedule. So all you're asking for is out of those difficult games, right? 2 against the Chargers, 1 of which is on home, and you're on 4 days of extra rest in them, and they're not playing their best football at a time that you're catching them. And the other ones, it's like, if you go 500 in those other 4 games that are difficult, well, then you're looking at a 13-4
well, I was going to say, even we know this won't happen, but even if you told me that the Chiefs lost just about every difficult game remaining, so like they beat the bad teams,
11 or 12 wins.
Well, that's the thing. They could lose to Philly, the Dolphins, and the Bills. I don't think that's going to happen, but they could lose to all 3, and you start doing the math on they could still end up with a 13-4 record. So they're in a great spot for the number 1 seed. They really are.
And beat the Chargers.
And we know that offensively, they're still not where everybody believes they can get to. And even if they don't get to that level, the way the AFC is setting up, it is setting up really, really nicely for them, especially if they can beat, with the head-to-head game, they get Miami and Buffalo. They need to find a way at least to split one of those just from a seeding perspective potentially. But they have the tiebreaker on Jacksonville already. So you would like to get the tiebreaker on top of Miami.
Yes, because once you get the tiebreaker in Miami, because I was going to ask you, you see the schedule, you see where they rank, you see where Miami ranks, you know that they've got a much more difficult schedule. Cincinnati's got a more difficult schedule.
Easily the biggest game remaining on the schedule.
Jags have a more difficult schedule. If you look at it right now, what's your gut tell you if I made you predict who is the number 1 seed at the end of the year, and you just had to pace it, it was even money odds across the board? You'd bet the Chiefs, wouldn't
Absolutely.
you? So would I. And not just because we're in Kansas City, but part of it is the schedule. Part of it is because I think there are at least 5 or 6 games remaining in their schedule where I'm like, that's a win.
I mean, I just told you.
Just to win it. It objectively is. So maybe they fall 1 short of those. Well, again, like you point out, they're not going to lose all of their difficult games. So, I mean, it just feels like they're destined for at least 13 wins at this point because they got through the first 6 games of their schedule 5-1. Well, and those didn't end up being as difficult as we thought they were either because they ended up getting the Jets with no Aaron Rodgers. They got the Broncos, who were worse than we thought that they were going to be. And there was one other. The Bears, who are the worst team in football.
Well, the Dolphins, as we said, has the 5th toughest schedule now remaining. That's the advantage you have there. If you were able to beat them, I mean, the Chiefs' updated win total in Vegas is 12.5. Remember, after the loss to the Lions, it dipped down to 10.5. We mentioned that right away, like how foolish that was. and now it's back to 12.5. It's above the original win total.
Well,
but it got down to 10. It got down to 10.5.
11.5, and then I bet 10.5.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I'm looking to cash both those checks at the end of the year.
It was foolish. It was an overreaction after week 1, and that's not hindsight. We said it on the air at the time how crazy that was that the win total dipped down
after a single game.
10.5. One loss to now what we know is a Detroit team that's 5-1, one of the 3 best teams in the NFL, the Detroit Lions.
It's always hard with teams like that. With the Lions and stuff like that, it is hard for you and I to just ignore who they were for our entire lives, right, man? 39 years of my life, the Lions have stunk. Never been good. They've been a sad sack organization forever. They haven't won a playoff game in isn't it I can't remember, 60 years or something? When was the last time that the Lions won a playoff game?
92.
Oh my God.
Very comparable to the Bengals.
They were 12-4.
Of course, that's the last time about the Bengals won a playoff game until Joe Burrow showed up.
It was the 1991 season, but the game was in 92. So yeah, literally yes.
You weren't born.
No, I was 92. I was born in 91. So
I was not born.
Yeah, but you weren't born by January 5th of 1992, which was their last playoff.
Yeah, it was. I was born in 1991.
Oh, 91. I was sorry. I thought you were saying you were born in 92.
But I was 1 year old. Not even 1 year old yet. The last time they won a playoff.
Hit a birthday party.
I haven't had a birthday party yet.
The last time the Detroit Lions won a playoff game. So it was always hard. I think that's probably what happened with Vegas is when you run into those teams like that where you're like, they are historically bad. They are laughing stocks. It is hard to be like, oh, I bet that they're actually good this time. No.
Right.
I think it's the same reason nobody ever thought the Royals were going to actually win the World Series when they made the postseason. They spent 30 years in ineptitude, and then all of a sudden they were in the postseason, and it looked like they were going on a run, and you're like, oh, are they really going to happen? By the way, I am rooting for the Rangers to lose. I want the Royals to hold the record for most consecutive wins in the postseason.
You just need them to lose one game in the series now. Yeah, so they stop the streak.
I want them to lose this next game. I don't want them to tie. I want the Royals to hold the solo record for consecutive wins to start a post. They lost. They didn't win the World Series that year, unfortunately.
But the Rangers are pushing. The Rangers are certainly pushing for it. They look awesome right now.
Yeah, they look like the best team in baseball based on the way they're playing right now, which is the only time in which it matters. As we've
their offense woke up. Not to talk too much baseball, but their offense just woke up entirely. It fell apart for last month, and then that opening series that they had, the offense came back, and now they're dangerous.
Here we can talk offense, but we'll talk about it from the football perspective because this is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. All right. This is a test of are you a pessimist or are you an optimist for one stat. You can read this 2 ways, I'm convinced. So I want to know, do you read this as a pessimist or an optimist? Through the now 6 weeks of the NFL season, the Chiefs lead the offense in one category in the NFL. Broken tackles. They are breaking more tackles than anyone else in the NFL. So whether it be Pacheco or Tony or Kelsey, any of these guys out here, there's one thing the Chiefs offense does really well. It's break tackles. Is it a good thing that they lead the league in broken tackles, but their offense still isn't good? Or is it bad that they probably won't lead the league in tackles for the next 12 weeks and the offense has a lower floor than it currently has?
Well, it's certainly not a bad thing. It's certainly not a bad thing because I don't think broken tackles, if we were to go back in the history of the league, what does that normally equate to? Like, we can talk about on defense. You have missed tackles on defense. That'll kill you.
Yak yards.
But on offense, no. But what I'm saying is, like, on offense, I don't have the numbers in front of me. But I doubt that the team that had the most missed tackles, not defensively, again, causing the broken tackles, I doubt that they automatically were always the Super Bowl champion or the team that had the most wins or whatever. So, no, to answer your question, no, I don't think it's a bad thing. I certainly would rather have a team right now that has Isaiah Pacheco, who just breaks tackles left and right, than the team that has no ability to make guys miss whatsoever. It makes me wonder a little bit about their
offensive line play, which I haven't had a really good read on because I don't think they have a bad offensive line, to be clear. But I do think that they haven't been quite as good as I feel like they can be.
Yeah, we looked up the grades
penalties,
today.
Yeah, with the penalties at the tackles. Even Creed Humphrey, who hasn't, I don't think he's got a single penalty on the year, but he hasn't been quite Creed Humphrey of last year, right, yet. So I do wonder sometimes with these broken tackles is, are they allowing a little too much action in the backfield right now? This is where I'll be the optimist. To me is when the offensive line gets all of it together, and I do still think normally we would talk about 2 brand new tackles on an offensive line needing time to meld together, especially when you toss in the fact that Jawan Taylor became the eye of the NFL officiating crew for a few weeks after that. I think by the end of the season, there's no doubt the offensive line is going to be better, which means these broken tackles are going to be 5 yards further downfield, which means they're going to be gaining more yardage as the season goes on. I choose to be an optimist about this.
It's certainly not a negative. I get what you're I get what you're saying.
Law of averages say that you're not going to break the most tackles in the NFL the rest of the league, which means is your offense going to get worse?
Right, but my point is I don't think it's as deciding of a factor on offense as it. Like when we talk about missed tackles on defense, that can cause you flat out, Cody, to lose a lot of football games because you can't tackle whatsoever. Right? That's the Broncos' problem. Part of their reason why they cannot tackle. On offense, if you're a team that's breaking tackles and then suddenly you're not breaking as many, I don't think it has as much of a dramatic effect as being the defense that can't make the tackles, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at on this stat. But it's interesting. Isaiah Pacheco, a big reason for that. Dude just runs through people.
Tony, too. I mean, there's some other guys who break tackles. Some of this, I don't know. Because, again, the pessimist is where you can be like, well, yeah, the wide receivers are going to break tackles because there's always a defender in there, directly next to them because they can't get open. Like, I don't want to think that way. Instead, I'm choosing to be the optimist in the situation, which is if the offensive line play just improves a little bit, I think that broken tackle stat is going to improve how you feel about them in general because it is one of the things on offense that they're doing right, consistently right. And you and I have both said that there's plenty of room for growth in the offense. And it just so happens, great news for you. In the 1 year your offense is letting you down from what you're used to, you have the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL. So at the very least, Brett Veach, who has sent countless resources, especially into the draft, into the defense, it's working. Remember last year when I told you I wanted them to draft defense again, and they did again, go defensive heavy for like the 3rd year in the 4th time? Great. Well, it's paying off at least, Gold. They're spending their resources, their free agent money, and their draft picks on the defense, and now they have the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL. So the price is paying off. They didn't spend any money at wide receiver, and it's showing at the moment. But hell, I don't know. If Rashee Rice can just keep getting better as the season goes on, you'll be okay.
Pacheco's the 11th rated running back in broken tackles this year. I was just curious where he actually individually
You thought it would have been number 1.
Well, I thought he would have been in the top 5, yeah.
Well, he's up in that number. It's just that everybody's breaking him.
I think ETN is at the top of the list. And
ETN also has the most carries in the NFL this year. So
yeah, I think that's what's going on there. Yep, 16 of them.
I could see you mouthing numbers.
I was trying to count how many down because it wasn't. Yeah. So Pacheco has officially 9 broken tackles, and ETN has 16. David Montgomery, who's now hurt, has 12.
I'm just curious who. And by the way, his 9 broken tackles have got to be coming in way less attempts than most running backs.
They are. Yep.
Where do I have to go to find Pacheco? He's below David Montgomery. He's 13th in the NFL in attempts overall. So he's pretty far down. There's a long list of guys, including Zach Moss, who's above him in the NFL. So, of course, Travis Etienne, as you mentioned, number 1. Christian McCaffrey, number 2 in carries. If he's okay for this week, I guess I'll lighten on my stance of maybe don't let him carry the ball that much. I also don't want his streak of consecutive games with a touchdown to go away.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
When he plays, he gets a touchdown. It's that simple. It seems for him, it's that simple. Let me phrase that.
One of the other running backs, of course, Pacheco. You got McKinnon, Clyde. Still, occasionally will get that carry or 2.
I'm done with Clyde.
And I think they're just at some point someone's going to work in with it as the third back and get 4 carries, 3 carries.
At this point, I'm kind of just like it could be anyone else.
I think they're. Well, yeah, I agree, but he's under contract, and it's kind of like, all right, you're right. I mean, 3 carries a game. We know what you're getting at that point.
He's a 6th-round pick. We'd have stopped giving him carries.
Possibly, but also someone's going to get the 3rd or 4th carry. He's your 3rd back. So, I mean, overall, I think it's the name that annoys people at this point, not the fact that the 3rd running back's getting 3 carries a game or whatever the average is coming out to be. We know Nate Taylor from The Athletic is going to join us, and The Athletic was going through NFL trade deadline candidates, which we know that's going to heat up here in a couple weeks, and we know a lot of attention is going to be on the wide receivers that could be available. I still don't think the Chiefs are really going to make that big splash at the deadline. But one of the names that's mentioned is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, actually, as the most likely guy to be traded from the Chiefs.
Well, I was trying to think about it because this is interesting because he's saying that the player they will trade, right? Not they're going to trade for. So if you're looking for the Chiefs, what's the wide receiver they're going to go for? Well, Arizona Cardinals player is Hollywood Brown, right?
Sure.
Player most likely to be traded off of their roster. Is there a team that still wants Clyde? This list.
I mean, the money's not a problem anymore. You're halfway through the season.
This list from The Athletic feels like a list of the players that teams no longer want on their team that you're trading away for that late round swap that somebody else can take a chance on. Because the Buffalo Bills player is Kaiir Elam, a player who cannot get on the field for them. Or McCole Hardman for the Jets, a player who they signed who can't get on the field for him. Honestly, this would make sense for the Chiefs. Part of me just wonders, he's not a bad team player. I will say this about Clyde. He's always around. Nobody ever has a negative thing to say about his work ethic or his being in there. They always make it sound like he's coachable and available. He might just not have had enough talent. Or the injuries he suffered early made him lose 1/4 of his step, and that's just too slow to get to a corner, and then it doesn't work. Or his vision's not. It doesn't matter. Sometimes people are just talent deficient. I don't think that this is a work ethic deficiency.
No,
I could entertain it. I understand why Nate mentioned it. Who else would it be, you know?
Yeah, I mean, will another team entertain it is the question. I mean, there's still Leonard Fournette is still a free agent. Reports are the Bills are bringing him in for a visit. So if I can go and find free agent guys, am I really trading even if it's a late pick swap? I don't think Clyde's getting moved. Do you?
No.
I get that's the answer that Nate gave because, who else on the roster are you?
I'm more interested in this list of the other teams are trading away. And I'm like, okay, so Hollywood Brown, interested. Daniil Hunter, interested. Like, even the players I know aren't plausible necessarily.
Daniil Hunter would have been more. Now it's just like, they don't even have any. I mean, where are you putting Daniil Hunter at this point?
I'll figure it out.
Where
Daniil Hunter, I'll figure it out.
I understand, but honestly, do they need that at this point? I didn't even say they could always use a pat. But truly, where are they putting this guy on the roster? Next offseason, I'll take Daniil Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
When Chris Jones potentially isn't here or whatever.
They're going to spend some big money on the defensive
But I'm talking about
line.
like right now in season.
I'll figure it out.
How many wide receivers were mentioned in that article as being
okay, so Hollywood Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Hunter Renfrow. Again,
the Raiders aren't even the divisional opponents, and the Raiders aren't even. I don't need Renfrow. They're not even using him.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Interesting.
Hey, I mean, but
interesting
again,
name.
In conference, those trades happen. In division is where it's like, it's not impossible, but you have to at least make it seem a lot less likely. Kendrick Bourne, which we've talked about, doesn't really move the needle for me. Is it an upgrade over their wide receivers? I don't know. Like, maybe. Is it an upgrade over their wide receivers if he has to step in and try to learn the offense right now? Probably not. Those are the only wide receivers that get mentioned.
Okay. See, that's the problem. That's part of the
good
problem.
news, everybody. Prepare yourself for a whole lot more MVS and Sky Moore. Really, all we're asking for at this point is not that those guys play, but that Rashee Rice plays more. Like, at this point, that's the upgrade at wide receiver I'm planning. Instead of the 30% of the snaps that Rashee Rice has been seeing this season, he gets to see 60%, and the other guys get to see 30%, and then I move on with my life. That's it. That's the wide receiver upgrade I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm with you. I also still think, we focus in on the wide receiver. If you want a option in the red zone to help some of these issues where Mahomes is struggling to complete passes because there's not much separation, that's where I wonder in the second half of the season. Jerick McKinnon, I think he's part of the solution. I said it yesterday. I think Jerick McKinnon's part of the solution in the red zone for this football team, in the passing game and otherwise. If you're asking, like, in-house, what can help besides Rashee Rice, I think McKinnon's part of the formula to have more success in the red zone.
You know what I think it is? Calling normal plays. I'll just be honest.
It's a combination of everything, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
you mean you didn't like the 4th and 2 fake field goal that resulted in a Tommy Townsend having to shove the backup tight end?
I did not love it.
No?
I think any play that requires Tommy Townsend, who I do believe to probably be a relatively strong human being compared to other human beings, like normal human beings, I don't, however, think that if you lined up 53 players from each player, I assume Tommy Townsend would be like the 3rd weakest.
Well,
he's not that jacked punter from where was that jacked punter? The guy from a couple years ago?
Huh?
The guy who was just absolutely shredded at punter.
In the NFL?
Yeah. Oh, there was a guy a couple years ago. Dude, he was like cutting his sleeves.
I know.
He was huge.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I don't know where he played.
Someone's going to remember.
For what team?
Damn it. I was hoping we would just it would just come in there. Because he was like...
Did the guy have a lot of tattoos as well?
I think so. It's just he didn't even look like a punter.
I'm trying to picture... Yeah. The Raiders, maybe?
The Giants punter?
I don't know.
Weatherford or whether... Anyway. The funny thing about the attempted push on the fake field goal too, Cody, is it was the Giants punter, Whittiford or something. Anyway, it was 2 yards. The Eagles don't even do the push for 2 yards.
No.
They do it for an inch or a yard.
I don't remember who it was. I'd give him credit. Last night on Twitter, somebody pointed it out. It was just they were like somehow
Steve Weatherford.
Like man, that guy
shredded.
is
He's shredded.
absolutely. Look, if that dude's pushing him for 2 yards, I'm in. Let's do it. Run the play back. No offense, Tommy, but if you look like the cover of a Men's Health magazine,
that's exactly what he looks
we're
like.
good.
Yeah.
We're good. Let him shove the people around.
And he's out of the league?
Fine. He's probably just doing curls or something somewhere.
When's the last
else.
time he played? Yeah, he's 40 years old now, so it's been a while. He last played for the Jets in 2015.
Absolutely.
He was on the Chiefs in 08.
Absolutely.
Says he was on the Chiefs in 08. He was claimed off waivers in October. Then they put him on waivers 2 weeks later. He's on the Chiefs for a cup of coffee.
Tommy does that.
Or kale in his case or something.
Whatever. My problem in that game was not that they tried one fake field goal Gold. It was that on 3 short yardage plays, Patrick Mahomes did not touch the ball. He was not the person responsible for getting them the first down. And that feels foolish. It seems silly that if you are currently having red zone problems, and by the way, their red zone problems are a lot like their offensive problems, relative to the competition. They are currently 17th in the NFL in red zone touchdown scoring percentage, and they are 1 for their last 10 in the red zone. So, I mean, you can see where they would be a lot better if they just didn't go on an absolute cold streak. But, yeah, it's nuts.
All right, we'll keep talking Chiefs football. Coming up next in studio, we've got our friend Nate Taylor from The Athletic joining us. We'll ask him about jacked up punters, I guess, at this point, and also what the Chiefs can do in the red zone.
Chiefs fans, it's Jawan Taylor. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Well, I want to tell you about another winner. It's my friends at Window World. They are ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They're also the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you know the Chiefs are a winner. And Window World, they have windows that are one of 2 windows that are locked in with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency over 52,000 homes in Kansas City. Plus, your windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all your parts, glass breakage, and labor. It also uses a double-strength glass. It gives it that extra strength that is not commonly used in your normal replacement windows. They are giving an incredible deal right now. They are offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 18 months, that's a year and a half. So do me this favor. Give them a call for a free home estimate. Check out the website, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Fall is right around the corner. You know winter is going to be here before you know it. I want you to get ready, and the best way to do that is with my friends at Window World.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be present in a state where lawful to wager, must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit GamblingHelpMA.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
It's time for the Fall Haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the Fall Haul at Northern Tool. Back up the truck for the season's biggest event and save on generators, power tools, trailers, and more. Shop in-store or at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and friction and reduce wear. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99. Limits apply. See store for details. Get Syntec only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant Cash Offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of holiday joy at the Home Depot, where you can find everything you need to get ready for the holiday season, like all new festive outdoor decor. Spread more joy this season with bigger, bolder, and brighter inflatables from the Home Depot, like our exclusive new 8-foot animated Santa and reindeer inflatable for just $149, available in-store and online. Get holiday ready right now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's Travis Kelce.
This is Taylor Swift.
You're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Back here on Cody and Gold, we'll be joined by Nate Taylor from The Athletic in studio in just a couple of minutes. Do you see the latest conspiracy theory for a little bit last night around the Monday Night Football game?
The Chargers fan?
So there was a So the Chargers fan,
I saw
if you didn't, you probably caught it, but like incredible. They cut to this Chargers fan 2 or 3 times, and she's just going nuts, intense, freaking out. Like it was hilarious.
Incredibly animated.
Hilarious. It was so good. And Tom Pelissero was responding because some people said Cody was just like a plant.
To prove that there is a Chargers fan to the world?
That, like, they just wanted her on prime time, and this was going to be a good look. Well, Tom Pelissero did some digging. He said the Chargers fan who went viral Monday night and her husband are season ticket holders. They rent cabana suites every season for multiple games.
What do they do for a living?
Wow. Doctors or something.
They're not doctors in L.A. They got to be better. They got to be like in charge of hospitals or something.
I have no idea. They're diehard fans, not actors. They just wanted to clarify that. So they're the real deal.
I do understand.
I'll have to bring it up because our guy Paul Charchian, who joined us on Thursday,
he's a big conspiracy guy,
he
man.
quote tweeted my GIF or whatever and said, "My friend Bernie thinks she's a plant by the NFL's marketing machine." It's the same thing he said about Taylor Swift. We got to talk to
Was
Charch
it
again.
also this guy Bernie who thought that?
I don't know, but Bernie needs to relax on the conspiracy theories.
He also believes in like Sasquatch and
I feel like
the
if they were
chupacabra.
Wow, that whole thing. We saw the latest. You guys saw that
did.
where someone claims they saw Bigfoot they were riding in a train.
I did not see that.
So there's a video.
Wait, Bigfoot riding in a
No,
train?
no,
Just like a passenger with what, a pipe?
No.
It's not quite that good.
I wish that'd be amazing. No. This was in Colorado.
Bigfoot
Was
sighting ever.
it Colorado?
Yeah, I think
And-
I think they were on the Amtrak.
Yeah, they were on an Amtrak train, and in the distance,
middle of nowhere,
they see this thing walking. And everybody says, well, it looks like it's Bigfoot.
It definitely
And
looks like
it kind of does,
Bigfoot.
but as I've told you, this goes with the alien stuff as well. It's so weird in 2023, whenever someone claims they see Bigfoot or Sasquatch, suddenly our cameras revert to like it was 1999 again.
We're all using Galaxy Note 4s.
Nobody on the train had an iPhone that's been built in the last 5 years that has a camera capable of having a clear photo. No, of course, it's this grainy video, and you can't really tell. That's my issue all the time with this stuff. Give me a high-quality photo. Let's go.
In this part, that person was moving on a moving train.
You need to see the video.
You got to Google it, and you'll see
watch
what
this
the video
video
we're
now.
talking about as we got Nate Taylor settling in here from The Athletic. I'm not telling you, we've talked about the alien thing.
We can talk about Bigfoot or we can talk about jacked punters. Your call.
I mean, we've talked about aliens. I told you I do believe aliens exist, except I'm skeptical at times with some of the stuff. The Bigfoot thing I always have called complete BS on. Nate Taylor, what do you think? Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Look, maybe the legend can't grow if it's in clear 4K,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
Exactly.
so everybody put their phones down real quick. But, of course I don't believe in it as much as it is fun to talk about.
It's funny. It is.
But no, I'm more in the line of, okay, I haven't seen fans celebrate like this when their team wins the Super Bowl, let alone when their team ties the game in October.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Sure, yeah, I heard. So I was like,
yeah,
sure, I could.
They're a wealthy
lean into
couple.
this.
They're a wealthy couple. It turns out Bellicero said they're just a wealthy couple. Obviously, they rent multiple
There just happens
cabanas.
to be a wealthy LA couple who spends their life watching the Chargers. What life is that? What kind of life is that? That was a game last night of the two most cursed franchises of the last 20 years. Not the worst franchises, most cursed. They'll win some games. They might find themselves in a playoff game or two. They'll lose. It'll hurt. They'll never be bad enough to get the #1 overall pick and just solve their problems. Just be stuck in mediocrity forever.
The beyond the lady and her wave of emotions.
She was into it.
Was the idea that like, okay, we're moving, we got the ball, all we need is a field goal. It's a 2-minute warning. All right, what play do we like? Okay, let's find the play. Let's get the right formation, the right personnel. Okay. Whoa, we didn't account for that number 11 guy.
It was quiet all game.
What just happened?
All game quiet, and they did a good job on him. And then when it mattered most, he stepped up.
They could have called the game right there, like, it's over. They're not scoring. Like for Justin Herbert's own safety, let's call it, But I mean, that is the mark of a team that is not good or not thorough.
They're poorly coached, Nate. That's what it is. Like,
they really
I get
Staley's
it.
not
People
a
are
good
hating on Herbert today, and look, we might find out in a year or so when Herbert's got a different head coach that he's the same guy, and maybe he shifts to more athletically gifted Phillip Rivers. Maybe that'll be the case. I don't know.
Okay.
But right now, I still think it's the coach holding him back.
I mean, Phillip Rivers made it to an AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
On like one knee.
No, he's not a bum. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, I don't open up Pandora's box here, but Phillip Rivers might still find a way in the Hall of Fame one day, as nuts as that sounds.
I think Phillip Rivers should be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, there you go.
I mean, this is a passing league, and he's got the longevity, the consistency. It's tough. It's almost like the 90s era of the NBA, where you can just lay off a number of guys who were great at one point in time.
Lost to Jordan.
Yes, and for any AFC quarterback not named Ben Roethlisberger or Peyton Manning, you lost to Tom Brady. So I think of that era, like there are 4 legitimate Hall of Famers, all the guys I just mentioned. So, and he did it with the Chargers. I mean, if Dan Fouts is in the Hall of Fame, then...
Well, then we can argue maybe Joe Namath. Well, look, we can go through
Phillip
some stats.
Rivers definitely needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
I do only like doing that when I think a player who has a borderline Hall of Fame case, and I want to make it stronger. I'm like, Jerome Bettis is a Hall of Famer, but Jamal Charles doesn't. Get the hell out of here. Jerome Bettis didn't even average 4 yards a carry. The man couldn't get to 4.
Yeah.
He's sitting here like 3.8.
But he had a fun nickname, and he played for the Steelers.
Yeah,
and they did win. And they did win. So look, there's a case to be made about. But see, he was one of the most lovable guys in that era. I mean, it's weird that this is how cool the 90s were in NFL history.
I told you I opened Pandora's box.
Of course you did. They played the same position, y'all. Barry Sanders, Jerome Bettis, Christian Okoye, Marcus Allen. They all played the same position. You don't have that now. You don't have that level of variety in terms of play style, body type in this current NFL. But yeah, I mean, he scored a lot of touchdowns from the 2-yard line. So, Hall of Famer.
Okay, so before we get to real things concerning the Chiefs, my current working theory is the Chiefs are only allowed to call the fake field goals where Tommy Townsend is the push man is if he gets super jacked. I want him to be like the size of the Pittsburgh Steelers punter or like Steve Weatherford. We've decided in the 2010s you got to get jacked like real big if they're going to call that play.
Like we need to start looking at the top of your locker when we interview you.
Yeah.
Hey, what kind of supplements you taking out here?
Hands row you got there?
Yeah. I mean, all these home runs are fantastic, but what's up there? What's funny to me is we know Tommy Townsend for his arm strength and his accuracy. He's better passing the football than he is blocking or pushing for someone. Of course, he was also on the injury report, which was hilarious at the time. They should never, ever
run that play
again. Yeah. Don't do it.
2 yards. They needed 2 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't 4th and inches.
No.
Right.
Besides the fact that you took Mahomes off the field, you also needed 2 yards. So it was an absolute disaster there. Fortunately, they obviously still were able to win the football game, and they're sitting at 5-1. And we were talking about the schedule opening up a little bit, Nate. Suddenly they have the 22nd easiest schedule or difficult schedule in football based off of strength schedule win percentage. A lot of it, they were 18th before the Chargers lost last night. Now they're 22nd because the Chargers are below 500.
Right.
But you're just looking at that and who they're going up against for the number 1 seed, Nate. And Miami's a team, Jacksonville, Buffalo. Those are really the only other teams you think can maybe get the number 1 seed probably. And Miami has the 5th most difficult schedule remaining.
Because of their own division. Their
right.
division
And because
is
they have to play
legit.
the Chiefs just like the Chiefs had to play them.
Yes, and their division is actually legitimate.
Except for the Patriots.
Yeah. They're not going to fire him, right?
I think they might part ways at the end of the season.
This is a smart man right here.
Yeah, they'd never publicly fire.
No chance he's ever getting fired.
You can't fire. I mean,
they just do Bill has decided to pursue other opportunities.
Again,
and then someone should hire him and just be like, hey, don't be the GM. Just come in here and coach.
Right.
Be fine.
Another part of 90s era football in the NFL, Don Shula was on one of those rolling shopping carts on the sideline. Yeah. And they couldn't fire him. So you can't fire Bill Belichick, right?
Nope.
I mean, he had his own golf cart during a playoff game. You know how fantastic you gotta be at your job to be like, I don't even need my legs. Just roll me up here on the sideline and I'll call some plays for Dan Marino and the boys. They can't fire him. But to the schedule, yeah, I think the Chiefs will win against the Chargers on Sunday. Chargers coming off a short week, tough loss. Having to travel. Yep, coming off their bye week. They got some injury issues as well. Their offensive line, as we saw yesterday, a little tough. So I'm very fascinated to see how Charles Omenihu coming off suspension, how many snaps he gets, particularly in those third down situations, if he can make an impact in his first appearance in a Chiefs uniform. But everything is sort of leading us to the NFL's most hyped and anticipated game not being on American soil.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I'll be going.
They're gonna take our Super Bowl too, Nate. Gonna take our Super Bowl. They're gonna move it
He's
over to
real
London.
worried about
About
Roger
moving it to
Goodell.
London.
Yeah, move that
He's
Super Bowl
really
to
worried
London.
about him floating that London
I don't like
Super
that at
Bowl
all.
idea.
Roger Goodell brought that up.
If you fly the teams out 10 days beforehand, it gets really interesting. I mean,
He doesn't want 1:30. He's
I won't-
anti-brunch.
I won't be opposed. Yeah, when can they
1:30
play that?
kickoff.
When can they
Nate.
play this game?
No, 1:30 kickoff.
No, how about we're gonna play it at midnight? That's that way.
Midnight in London.
They'll
That
show
way
up
we
in
still
London.
get the London
Yeah,
crowd.
they'll
but we
still show up
also-
in London.
Yeah. What if we play this game at midnight?
Could you imagine traveling to cover your team for
game
that?
of the season.
And you're like, it's just like midnight. You're like, whoa. Well, talk about how many excuses to come out of that game. There'd be no end.
But it sounds like you think that Dolphins-Chiefs game decides the number 1 seed?
It will be the first. It'll be the first checkpoint. I think the first domino. I guess probably is the better comparison because I think both teams will probably get to that game with one loss. Now I know the Dolphins have the Eagles coming up in Philadelphia
This week, yeah.
Have you seen the Eagles defense? It's not the same dominant unit as it was last year.
No, they're a touch off, but they're a lot like I put them in the Chiefs category. They're a touch off, and they're a touch off, and they're still 5-1. Like they aren't running at 100%. They're just out here rolling out 80% games, a lot like the Chiefs in some of these games. They're just rolling out these 80% games, and they're still 5-1. It's not slowing them down exactly.
Right. I think the thing that concerns me, if you're an Eagles fan or if you're just watching them on the All-22 from time to time, is the Chiefs sort of showed you how to go down the field in the second half of the Super Bowl last year, which is quick passes, quick decisions, having a person who can win off the line of scrimmage very quickly. That was Travis Kelce at the time. Even Juju Smith-Schuster obviously played really well in the second half of the Super Bowl. So with all that motion, with all that amount of speed, with the idea that Tua Tagovailoa gets the ball out almost as fast as anybody in the league, there's a way for I think the Dolphins in prime time to kind of have a surprising performance where it sort of reestablishes their legitimacy in the AFC. Obviously, we saw what they did to the Patriots in that Sunday night game. So I think there's a similar chance where the Eagles are going to be the team that's going to have to stay with the Dolphins, even though we have a much larger sample size of the Eagles being the better team over the course of the last 2 years.
When we look at the sleepwalking of the Chiefs, I think the obvious thing is wide receiver. It was the biggest offseason conversation. It's going to remain one of the biggest conversations this year.
Mm-hmm.
We can no longer think there's some hidden potential in Sky Moore, right? We're done with that. That man's got more than enough opportunities. Look, MVS is worse. I told Gold last week, MVS is just out there closing his apple rings. He's just getting cardio. He's just going for a jog. He's not doing anything else but going for a leisurely, stroll through the park. And Sky is bordering on that too. The amount of routes he runs compared to how many balls are thrown his way is way too low to think that there's some secret coming where he's going to snap out of it.
Right. It seems to me that Sky Moore, more than likely, and look, they made the thing about the Chiefs coaching staff is that they made pivotal decisions at the right points last year, right? They made the decision 6 weeks in, kind of where we are now. All right, let's give Isaiah Pacheco the starting role, okay? They made the decision all right, well, we're a good offense. We're an explosive offense. We need to add another dynamic playmaker, that being Kadarius Toney, of course, at the trade deadline. So the coaching staff in the front office have worked hand in hand really well over the last several years. Gentlemen, Sky Moore needs to be a slot receiver.
Yeah.
He can win occasionally on the outside. I know people are referencing his catch late in the game on Thursday night against the Denver Broncos. It was good. It was a good route. Still one route he ran really well from the outside. Another adjustment that I would recommend is Sky Moore does not get open quickly enough unless it's in the slot, but that area is going more to Rashee Rice at the moment. Then Sky Moore should be not on the field as much in the red zone. Part of the Chiefs' red zone issue is the fact that, they're not giving Marquez Valdes-Scantling chances in one-on-one opportunities. Obviously, you have the best red zone weapon of all time in Travis Kelce, so he dominates a lot of things. Rashee Rice is benefiting off of that and being, obviously reliable. But every time I see Sky Moore in the red zone, it just hasn't been productive.
I mean, he has 1 touchdown in 22 career games now. I mean,
and that 1 touchdown was
no, 2, because he had 1 in the Super Bowl and he had 1 week 1 or 2 this year.
Week 2 against the Jaguars. And you have to remember that was in a 2-minute drill, so it's a little bit different than like your normal red zone context. I know people have said, "Well, hey, if Justin Ross is dressing, where is he?" And my simplified, again, recommendation for a solution is those Sky Moore snaps in the red zone probably need to go to Justin Ross, because at least he gives you
bigger target,
the leapability and the one-on-one matchups. And look, they're going to create perhaps the same amount of separation, but one guy is clearly more athletic and can clearly, I think win a 50-50 pass more than Sky Moore.
Do you think Jerick McKinnon can help in the red zone? And that was something we were alluding to earlier. I know maybe we talked, are they saving him and all that? But in the red zone, if you're asking outside of the wide receiver room in-house to help you, Jerick McKinnon seems like maybe part of this solution as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Are they saving him? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like they're just like, we'll use you starting about week 10, Jerick. See you then.
Yeah. One of my favorite things has been, because what you're starting to notice now, and I think he's gotten a lot better, is there was a few times in the Broncos game where the Broncos are giving off a delayed rush or, a simulated pressure look, and you're not really sure who's coming where. And so it's a lot of mental quickness and strong decision-making from, like, what are my rules as a running back? Isaiah Pacheco did a really good job in pass protection. So they're using this first half of the season to sort of ensure that he progresses in that area just as much as he's been, reliable as a running back. You could also add, too, that, like, why don't you just run the ball on first and second down in the red zone, because that guy usually doesn't go down on first contact. So
and if there's anybody who's going to get it in from, like, the 9, it's probably Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'll take the risk.
Yeah. So you can, again, there's several things that they could try against the Chargers on Sunday. But with everything that's been said about McKinnon, one of my favorite parts of the season has been McKinnon looks at me in the locker room and he's like, "Nate, don't ask this question because I don't want to lie to you. I got a lot of you." And then, like, by the third question, he was like, kind of like last year. And then, like, he just stopped.
They're keeping
Kind
them
of like
fresh.
last year. And I was like,
fresh.
and I was like,
okay.
This is
He just had her staying in the cold tub until week 10 or 11.
So
This is
really,
my part of the job, Jerick.
Dolphins game will be the first time that we see maybe a little more of McKinnon. Maybe that's what, week 9.
Yes, and you have the bye week following, right? Coming off of that game, so you can really everything's sort of leading towards that moment. I know it's strange because you're playing 3 divisional games, which are more important than the Miami game, but to see the offense. And to know that, like, that's the game right after the trade deadline, too, right? So the trade deadline is October 31st. They play the Dolphins the very next week. So everything's sort of leading up to this, like, again, pivotal moment of the season. And you can beat the Chargers by just playing sound assignment football. Go to Denver, have a nice time, don't make it interesting in the fourth quarter. Then we get our game plan really ready and set to go for the Dolphins.
We're talking to Nate Taylor from The Athletic. Thinking of Denver, we know they cut Frank Clark on Saturday. He's a free agent now. Andy the other day spoke and kind of said they're talking through. When I heard that, I took that as we're making sure Frank's okay with the role that we're going to present to him. I'm not worried about the finances, but is Frank good with being a 10-snap guy, maybe even a practice squad guy? What are you hearing?
All of that checks out to me as well. I'm going to look up here just to make sure I'm on over the cap right now. The Chiefs have about $3 million to use. If you give Frank, the veterans minimum, you'd still have around 2.5 to play with. There's a chance that you could make a trade, but obviously if you add, I just want to remind people, if you add Frank, that could, complicate what you could do at the trade deadline to some degree, because obviously you have to have the cap space.
But wouldn't you just at the trade deadline be looking for a different defensive lineman anyway? Like, well, I mean, are they really going to go for a wide receiver? Because I don't think they'll target.
I don't. Yeah, there's not a great wide receiver.
Unless it's Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, there's no Kadarius Toney out there, at least as of right now, from what I'm hearing. So, and of course, his issue was injuries, and he didn't want to be there. So there's no player right now, at least that's on the trade block that sort of fits that same category. So the trade deadline will mostly be about offense, I think, more so than defense, because you have Charles Omenihu coming back from suspension. You obviously are having conversations with Frank Clark. It's just one of those things where, for Frank, he has made it abundantly clear to most people in the league that, like, this is where I would like to be. I know where this team is headed. I've been there before. I've helped them before. Let me get one last chance to be with Chris Jones, and obviously to help out all the young guys. I mean, he did that role better than anybody could have anticipated last year, being the savvy veteran who sort of gives lessons along the way to a younger defense and actually helps that defense be ready when the moment is obviously its brightest in the postseason. So you can sort of sign him and stash him away. You can sort of give him to the you can sign him to a practice squad that you can obviously elevate him. There also is a benefit if you add Frank, because he obviously knows the system. If there's an injury at the defensive line position, he would be the most logical, most seamless transition to somebody if you want to keep your rotational numbers correct, or if you want to have the best amount of guys possible. It's better to have Frank Clark than it is to have maybe somebody else who is either on the trade block or still available in free agency.
Yeah, because Carlos Dunlap was the name we all talked about during camp. I don't know if he's like semi-retired, just whatever. He's hanging out at home too.
He's just, I think the thing for Carlos is he wondered if other teams would be, potentially calling. There hasn't been a ton of injuries at the defensive line position this year, which I find to be interesting too. So it's like, hey, Von Miller's coming back from his injury, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that was sooner than we anticipated. Maybe Buffalo doesn't give me a call. Buffalo doesn't have a lot of cap space either right now. But for all these teams, it's like, I mean, it's crazy that like the Bengals are the team that is probably most capable of adding somebody. They have about $12 million to spend.
They're trying to save that money to pay.
But if you're Frank, are you joining?
Yeah,
you're
you can roll over that money for next year, right?
You're not sure if Frank, if you're Frank Clark who wants to be on a contender at this second, the Bengals are just a 500 team. You're not sure.
Right.
You don't want to join another team that's not going to make the playoffs.
And Carlos doesn't have great feelings about the Bengals.
Gotcha.
Obviously. So,
yeah.
Like the Browns have $34 million if somebody wants to join them. If you want to give it another week or two and see how that season plays along. They're probably the best contender who has the most money in the AFC. The 49ers know what their defensive line situation is. So you don't have to worry about them. And so the further you go out, the more you realize, like, man, there's not just – sometimes it works out for a veteran where you're like the league kind of informs you little by little by little that, like, all right, my career may be done, which was one of the more fascinating parts about the Kelsey documentary on Amazon was when Jason Kelsey was talking to all of his former teammates for the Eagles who have all been retired, and they're like, no, the league will let you know. And then I think it was Jason Avant who said, well, they called me, and then I thought about it. And that's not a good thing. It's not like you're, like, jumping at the opportunity. You're thinking about, like, oh, okay. So I don't know if Carlos is in that category, too, where, like, if a team does approach him, is he more thinking about?
And then he's like, it's probably it.
And Avant's...
Didn't Avant quit in the middle of preseason or like training camp?
I can't remember.
Was he one of those like signing training camp and he's like, I'm out?
Yeah, I'd have to
We're good
look
here.
back here.
That's what I mean. John Ross just did that during this year's camp.
Yes. He was just like, how many routes I got to run? No.
Yeah. He got to a Chiefs training camp. He's like,
nope. And that was before they put the pads on. Which is
John
crazy.
was like, I'm out, man. I'm done.
So Avant's point was when you have to start thinking about it, you're already retired. You're just not willing to admit it to yourself and to everybody else. So I don't know if Carlos is in that spot as well. But for Frank, this is the best opportunity for him. And, Mike Dana's playing pretty well, pretty serviceable. Obviously, George Karlaftis is having a lot more pressures this earlier in the season than he did last year as a rookie. You still got to see what you've invested in Charles Omenihu, right? But Malik Herring or Frank Clark, that's kind of, I know people have said, well, what about Felix? Red shirt. Just don't even look at him, guys. It's a red shirt year. He's only there to learn. Like, if they have to use him, it's a problem. Like, Felix is
a project.
Yeah, well, not even a project. He's just he's like one of the youngest players on the team who obviously has talent for next season.
Okay.
Like, they've actually taken his snap count down, which lends you to believe that, like, no, we're trying to win. And so we'll give you snaps if it's
games in hand.
Yeah, if it's advantageous for the situation. But like Frank Clark is the now, you're the future in a sense. And that's the same way for Malik Harrington.
Nate Taylor from The Athletic. Good to have you in studio, man. Appreciate it as always. We'll be checking out your work this week over at The Athletic. Up next, we'll get to all 32 and the random question of the day.
Chiefs fans, it's Scott Moore. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
One of my favorite times of the year has arrived. That is football season, but it also means we're getting a little bit closer where you got to start thinking about your boat. You got to start thinking about winterizing that boat. So you need to let Midwest Marine Boat Company's elite part and service department take care of your boat so you're all ready to go for next year. Midwest Marine Boat Company will winterize your boat, shrink wrap your boat. They can help with storing your boat. Midwest Marine Boat Company still has all the great savings, though, I've been telling you about. When it comes to the 2023 models, you want to take advantage of those savings before manufacturer prices change. You know that's going to happen. You do not want to be left out and missing this great opportunities. And for the rest of September, they're still going to offer that $2,000 trade-in allowance on all Bennington pontoons and tri-tunes. Midwest Marine Boat Company, home of the largest indoor showroom in the Kansas City area. I was amazed still when I walked in there for the very first time. You will be as well at 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview. Midwest Marine Boat Company. We take pride in your fun.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
It's time for the Fall Haul at Northern Tool and Equipment. Get your hands on tough tools at prices that are tough to ignore. Got plans? Cancel them. Trucks in the shop? Borrow someone else's. Don't like saving money? Right. So head to the Fall Haul at Northern Tool. Back up the truck for the season's biggest event and save on generators, power tools, trailers, and more. Shop in-store or at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
O'Reilly.
Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and friction and reduce wear. Get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select filter for just $33.99. Limit supply. See store for details. Get Syntec only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's touchdown Kansas City when you sell your home to RexBuysKC.com. I am Mitch Holtis, voice of the Chiefs, and no company pays more than Rex, with instant cash offers on your money in as little as 7 days.
That's right, Mitch. I'm Rex, owner of RexBuysKC.com, your locally owned home buyer. We'll buy any house regardless of condition. Distressed or damaged homes, it doesn't matter. Call us now at 816-330-6000 for the best offer and instant cash.
Score a touchdown, Kansas City with Rex, and get a fair, honest deal. Facing divorce, bankruptcy, thousands in repair bills, needing to move fast, being foreclosed, or just wanting cash fast? Then contact Rex now to get your money in as little as 7 days.
We help homeowners solve their problems with options on how they can sell their home. We have no fees, no closing costs, no commissions, no open houses. We buy your house as is.
Sell your home today, worry and hassle-free, no matter what the condition, and get your money in as little as 7 days.
Call us right now at 816-330-6000 or go online to rexbuyskc.com and let us buy your home today.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Hey, at Total Wine & More, you'll love what you find this Halloween.
Me thirsty.
Oh, hey, Frankenstein. Did you enjoy that Cabernet?
Oh, good. Want margarita?
Well, all the villagers are raving about this tequila.
Ooh.
And we have it at the lowest price in town.
Economical.
Find what you love and love what you find with the totally lowest prices for Halloween, only at Total Wine & More. Now open in Liberty at Liberty Wilshire Plaza.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Stop by any Arvest branch to find out why banking with Arvest and the Arvest Go mobile app makes life easier. Arvest Bank, proud to be here game day. Let's do this.
All right, back here, Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Thanks again to Nate Taylor from The Athletic for joining us in studio on a Tuesday. We'll get to the random question of the day here in about 8 minutes or so. You guys can always hit us up on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610. Let's get to all 32 a little bit. A lot going on in the NFL. This is a very good development, though. This was more relevant probably the last couple years when Eric Bieniemy was around, but still, this applies to everybody across the league. It sounds like, according to Pro Football Talk, that owners are wanting to ban in-person interviews with assistant coaches until after the divisional round.
Good.
This is really good news. We all know this has come up multiple times where teams just aren't willing to wait, and so it hurts the guy that's an assistant in previous years' case, like Eric Bieniemy, and the team's going to the Super Bowl. The team's going to AFC title games. This is great. I know we certainly give Mike Florio a hard time, and it's well-deserved. But he's correct on one thing. He's like, why stop there? Why not extend this out to the Super Bowl? I agree with him. Because you're still putting the guys that are on Super Bowl staffs, who might be some of the best assistants, by the way.
Eric Bieniemy does have Washington to a league average offense.
Yeah.
Which is all you should have been asking.
Yeah, they're 500 right now out there in D.C., but they should wait until the Super Bowl as well. This is progress, though. I like seeing this. You're an assistant coach. You're on a good team that's going to multiple playoff games every year. You're going to get passed up because owners are not patient. They don't want to wait till January 30th to hire you. And so this is actually a really good sign if this, in fact, actually becomes a thing.
I assume that means they'll kind of make up their mind behind closed doors, maybe a little stronger versus letting these people come in. But it just changed the idea of like, if you're Eric Bieniemy, you're doing this like phone interview during the week in which you're supposed to be getting ready for divisional round anyway. Part of me is just, if you want to maintain quality of the league too, why have these guys interview for jobs while they're still trying to do the job? I'm not saying they can't work through both, but just wait 2 more weeks. 2 more weeks? You can't wait a month? Look, if you're going to make the wrong hire, you're going to make the wrong hire. But I'm with Mike Florio, of all people. We haven't been in an agreement this entire NFL season. He's done nothing but
just bitching about the officiating.
Just constantly talking about it. What favorable conditions the Chiefs are getting. It's like the only thing the man talks about. But so we agree on this one, at least. My thing is looking at a different city and the situation they're in. Our friend Danny Parkins, he's been having arguments with people on social media. But I went on to some Chicago-based papers because I couldn't believe this is a real stance. There are people in Chicago that think that if they end up with the number 1 overall pick, they should not take Caleb Williams. They should instead use those picks, acquire more picks, and go, idiotic. I'm telling you right now, if you got a quarterback that's good enough to make you the number 1 overall pick for 2 consecutive seasons, that's not the quarterback you want. Let's just say it. A good enough quarterback.
Even if it's Carolina's
in the NFL,
pick, I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're a top 5 pick back-to-back years and you just took a number 1 quarterback, he's not good enough to lead you out of the problems. And so if for some reason you're Chicago and you end up with the number 1 overall pick, make it real easy on yourself. Just take Caleb Williams. Hope you got it right this time. Even though you didn't with Trubisky, even though you didn't with Justin Fields maybe, take the right pick this time and just take Caleb Williams again. It would be foolish to think just because you had gotten it wrong twice that it would be a mistake to go back at quarterback again. You should just go back to the well.
Yeah, they can go back to the well, but I don't know about Caleb Williams. I mean,
we did learn that yesterday. Drew was very skeptical about Caleb Williams.
So I'm going to be bold, guys. The Detroit Lions. The Lions are the best team in football.
Wait, better than the Chiefs? This
Better
Kansas
than
City
the
Radio,
Chiefs,
my friend.
better than the 49ers, better than the Dolphins. They have top 5 categories in terms of yards per game, points per play, and yards per play. Opponent-wise, they are holding opponents to under 20 points a game. A lot of teams are, technically, but they're ranking 9th in that category. 7th in opponent yards allowed per game. If you look at the passing or the overall rushing statistics, they're one of the best running teams in terms of the league, the conference itself. They're up there a little bit higher. Opponent rushing yards per rush, 2nd in the league. They're one of the best run defenses in the league. If you look at some of the competition they're going to have to go through in order to get to the Super Bowl, going to have to go through some teams who traditionally do run the ball and rely more on that side of the ball, guys. I mean, Jared Goff, I know he's an underdog for the MVP race, but I mean, looking not to say that he's the favorite by any means, but if you look at his core to pass to, I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is there, but it's not like he has many other guys that are high-profile names like Tua has Waddle and Tyreek Hill and some of the other high-profile names. Maybe the Eagles as well with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but I think the Lions are the best team in football, guys. I mean, they're showing it 5-1.
They're certainly in the conversation. There's no doubt. I told you after what the 49ers just did this weekend, losing, I don't know if there's one team that anybody can have a consensus opinion on that is the best team in football. You know, last week it was as close as a consensus as you could get from people that the Niners were the best, and they just lost. I was part of that camp. I don't think there's one team that would get the majority vote, if you will, to go ahead and get a true vote on who the best team is. And that speaks to, who was in the mix. Yeah, the Chiefs you can make a strong case for. You can make a case for the Lions.
Lions beat the Chiefs.
You can still make a case for the 49ers. If McCaffrey and Debo were healthy, you can make a case still for the Eagles. So, yeah, I get it. But, man, oh, man, I think the Detroit Lions, what Dan Campbell has done after the hype that they got in the offseason to back it up is pretty impressive too, right? Because everybody was skeptical. Like, okay, they're getting all this love, and here we are. We're talking about them in the conversation as one of the best teams. You think they are the best team.
Has Jared Goff had one of the most interesting football careers?
Yeah.
He's a top pick in the NFL draft. He gets off to a scorching start in L.A., gets to a Super Bowl, comes up short, but gets to a Super Bowl right, gives his team an actual chance. Then they don't like him anymore in L.A. He starts throwing some more picks. He ends up in Detroit. In his head, he's going to end up having 3 really good seasons there, and presumably get paid again, right? I mean, the Lions right now, they can't make an argument for dipping back into the draft and getting rid of a quarterback who has made them relevant for the first time since Calvin Johnson was around. I mean, they're just they're an interesting team. I don't know. I don't think they're the best team in football because by your argument, right, points per game and points allowed per game, the Chiefs are in pretty much the same boat. They're the 9th best scoring offense, but the 2nd best scoring defense. The Lions are like the 2nd best scoring offense, but the 9th best scoring defense. They kind of land in similar categories. I just think they're one of those teams right now where there's a big handful, like you mentioned, Gold. It's not just that there's a lot that are good. There's a lot that are very balanced. The 49ers are a top 10 offense and defense. So are the Chiefs. So are the Bills. So are the Lions. Like, all these teams we're talking about have top 10 offenses and top 10 defenses. That's why there's no separation.
It does feel very weird to say, though, the Lions are,
No doubt.
Forget a top team. They're a top 5 team. Like, excuse me? Really?
Yeah.
They're very good.
In a lot of people's our lifetimes, that the Lions have been.
Is the text line really making the argument for winning college quarterbacks?
Yes, that's where
I thought we've buried that when Mahomes was the best quarterback in the NFL.
Back and forth with someone on the text line that said, yes, because drafting Fields' clone will fix the Bears' problem, referencing Caleb Williams and saying, hey, when's the last time he won a big game? He just lost the Heisman. I said, yeah, Tim Tebow won a lot of big-time college football games. That turned out really well. Patrick Mahomes, by the way, didn't actually win a ton of huge college games. Turned out all right for Patrick Mahomes.
Lost a lot of those, actually.
Lost a lot of them. So look,
Bryce Young won a bunch of college football games. How's it going for him so far?
Yeah, I mean, just
doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it does not.
You're good or you're not.
It doesn't matter.
Just because you didn't play in national championship games does not mean you can't be a good college quarterback or an NFL quarterback. That's kind of silly to me.
I guess the question would be,
that's all 32.
like right now, if we went
through
the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, just real quick on that, this can be different from the all 32. If we went through right now the top 10 quarterbacks, according to most people in the league, how many of them were great college quarterbacks? Tua was. He won a national championship, right?
Joe was.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. Yep.
Joe Burrow was. Mahomes wasn't.
Jalen Hurts is an interesting
He
path.
obviously put up a bunch of stats, but he didn't win, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about winning.
Correct.
Jalen Hurts
transferred.
Good.
Very good, but transferred.
Not good enough to beat out Tua.
Josh Allen, his Wyoming team
was
was
at
awful.
Wyoming.
Awful. Yeah. He was completing like 50% of his passes at Wyoming.
So we're not saying it doesn't factor in, but it's not the end all. You don't have to. I mean,
saying you can be a good college quarterback and also be good in the pros. It just means there's not a direct correlation.
Yeah. There you go. Before we get to the random question of the day, a lot of people love your song choice coming back from Breakthrough as well.
I know. I was waiting to see. I was wondering if anybody would recognize it. I made sure to do the instrumental.
Yeah. Good decision on.
Look, it's a classic song, all right, regardless of the situation.
It is a classic song that's been ruined.
There's a great.
Yes, it has been ruined.
In fairness, there's a great Dave Chappelle stand-up routine about this, and I think he's got it right. Dave Chappelle says that you can listen to the music of these horrible people just as long as you admit they're horrible people before you do it. They're a terrible people, but Remignition is a,
Should I have come on before and said, by the way, guys, the song I'm about to play is made by a terrible person, but here we go.
It's made by a terrible person, but here's some R. Kelly. It's like,
oh my goodness.
You might have to admit that they're awful people before you play.
They are. Or he is, yes.
He is. Not everyone's awful.
He
they
is.
are. They're all awful people.
Let's get to the random question of the day.
Random question.
That'd be tough to beat. That feels like a random question of the day topic. Who's the artist you listen to that you don't want people to know? We'll save that. How about this? I'm warning you now. Tomorrow, that'll be the random question so that we can prepare.
That is a good one.
So that we can prepare music. Okay?
Right, fair enough.
We won't make that the random question today.
Fair enough.
We'll make that tomorrow's random question. Get your music ready. The band you listen to.
We can do that all week long. Who is the athlete you really root for that's actually a terrible person as well?
No,
we can
I
just have a whole series on this, Cody, all week.
Like, you don't really admit to people that you listen to. That's
man.
all. Anyway, for you, Gold, for you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, on our video streams, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. I do have something tomorrow for the people of YouTube. I have an interest.
The people of YouTube.
Well, I have an interesting opportunity. Some people who might watch our live stream tomorrow that I think they'll be interested in, but I want to bring that up tomorrow. The question I have for you today is, what is the most number of hours you worked in a week once? I am asking this question because there's a new profile out of Shams, the NBA insider, breaking down his day. He, on average, is on his phone of screen time 18 hours a day. He says he sends 500 texts a day. I've decided that is a miserable existence. They could not pay me enough money to do that man's job. It sounds terrible. So what I was thinking about is, like, in the one working week of my life, what do I think the maximum amount of hours I worked was? And I decided it was probably like 70. Once or twice, I probably got to 70 hours. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, so one, that piece, someone must have replicated it because they did that on Adam Schefter like a year or so ago, and it was mind-boggling as well to see the numbers on the amount of text messages and how often his phone is on and all that. So the fact that another NFL, in this case NBA insiders doing that, not surprising. To answer your question, yeah, you said probably 60 at some point in time. It was probably 60 at some point way back when. This probably even goes back to like when I was having two, like almost a full-time / part-time job, like a combination. That's probably it. But as far as like one full-time job, no. But,
Mine probably
but a combination.
was in this industry, but like when the Royals were on a run to a World Series and you're just working like 12
that's
hours
always
a day,
tricky. That's
6
always
days
tricky.
a week. You know?
Yeah, that's always tricky because people don't view it the same way. But yes, there's some of those.
It's still my job.
When you're busy, radio, Super Bowl week type stuff or whatever it may be.
But even those weeks, I don't think we work 65
No,
hours those weeks.
hell no.
We're goofing around, shooting
Hell
videos
no.
by the car in the pool. It's still, there's like a limit.
60 is probably the answer.
Yeah, I think 60 is the thing for me too. Did you also see in that piece, by the way, that Shams said that he stopped playing pickup because he missed a big some breaking news regarding coaches during a pickup game. He stopped playing pickup because of that and has never played pickup again.
That's actually worse than the hours. Is you're so worried about if you're any of those insiders like Schefter or Shams, you're so worried about missing the big scoop because it could happen at any time.
Sure.
That you're you're not able to enjoy other moments. Like you're out with friends or your wife or girlfriend or whatever, and you're constantly nervous and feel like you got to be checking your phone. That sounds like a terrible existence.
Do you cave to the texting pressure? So like a GM was talking about early in his career what it was like, and they were like, eventually you'd give him the scoop because he would send you 13 texts in an hour. He wouldn't stop. It was incessant. He would just keep texting you. Eventually, like, yeah, man, here's what's happening. Congratulate you won. Have you ever do you cave to people who like text you like an amount that you're like, I don't want to respond to this.
Oh, the great thing is there's a hide alert thing on the phone, which is great too. Sometimes you'll be in a group chat or whatever.
Their phone actually buzz.
Yeah,
you're just
a lot of people saying that these are people talking about working true labor jobs. Cody, 85 to 90 hours a week.
God, Nick Price says he was doing that the first month they opened a restaurant.
Yeah, someone else 113 hours during the Big 12 tournament while working in Power and Light. Didn't even go home, just slept on the stage.
I'll just say this. I've had a couple of people be like, I worked 90 hours this week, and I know that they were lying. I just want to make it very clear. These people probably aren't. If you've ever worked 90 hours in a week, it is, do you know how hard it is to just actually put in that amount of time? I mean, it's borderline impossible.
A lot of people mentioning what happens around the Big 12 tournament. Someone else said 80 hours, 4 days during the Big 12 tournament at McFadden's back in the day.
I mean, I hope you made
Royals won the World Series. They pulled 120
grand.
hours one week at Academy Sports because they were doing all the T-shirt releases and all that stuff.
120 hours? No, you didn't. No way. That's not plausible. That's outside of labor laws. I'm not even sure there's that many hours in a week. 120 hours.
They're probably exaggerating a little bit, but maybe they work 90.
My brother works about 70-hour days, and this is regularly though.
Yeah.
120 hours would mean they worked all 7 days, 17 hours a day. I'm sorry. I'm calling BS. No chance. That's not even. Show no way.
A lot of people say a lot of people are right. Though we know we have a lot of individuals that do delivery jobs that listen to the show.
Yeah.
Someone says
that was a good one.
The USPS, right? 70 plus every week since COVID. They just said that's just kind of their new hours.
Just what? No choice. No choice. You just gotta run out 70 hours in the, rain, sleet, snow. The chant.
My brother is a teaching golf professional, and he works 70 hours a week all year round. 70 hours a week. He does get 1 whole month off though, but he gets no.
That's not enough.
Yeah.
I didn't even work 70 hours a week when I was a Royals insider. They gave me like 3 months off.
Look, there's some jobs people point out if you're a firefighter or whatever type of shifts that you're working.
It's tough because we run into that stuff too, where it's like you work 92 hours because that's your shift. But you're not working those whole 92 hours. I've had jobs like that too. It's really difficult. But he's right.
I thought for a second you're trying to compare our job to what firefighters do. I was like, what are you? I was like, what are you talking?
I was thinking that too.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Like the guy who worked at Academy, he made it sound like he was straight up folding shirts for 300 consecutive hours just to get him out of there. Maybe he did. I don't know. This is nuts. Some of you guys are working absolutely bonkers
Someone
hours.
said basically like, hey, idiots, it's 168 hours in a work week.
That's
possible hours to work.
I'm just telling you right now, it is harder than
Someone
you
says
think.
it's a choice for the Postal Service.
Oh, okay.
You can do double time. Make that money. Get that
Yeah,
money.
you get some good money.
You really
doing
want to
that.
work 11 hours on the day? This
Get
is
that money,
insane.
man.
I like on Twitch. Andy on Twitch is like, okay, down with this system. This is insane. Way too many of you are working way too many hours.
Hey, people got to pay the bills, Cody.
I'd like us to go
People
the
gotta
opposite way.
pay
Let's
the
get down to
bills.
this 4-day work week they're
Well,
talking
that would
about
be
over in
incredible.
Europe. Let's get that.
That'd
thing
be
happening.
incredible. Do you think we would still do shows
Red
5 days a
Thursday,
week?
baby.
If let's say the entire country in most jobs, not all, most jobs went to a 4-day work week,
would we?
We'd still be
We'd be
doing
the
five.
last.
We'd still be doing 5-day-a-week shows, right?
We'd be
Because
the last.
some people would be off on certain days, and it doesn't mean everybody would be off the same. So you would still have different schedules.
I wonder how much the sports schedules would change because of that. Because the NFL is primarily built around the 5-day work week schedule. I mean, does that mean they move to Saturdays and college football moves to Fridays? I mean, how exactly is this whole thing shaken out?
I don't think it would shift like that. Because again, just because you work 4 days a week doesn't mean you would just work Monday through Thursday. Some people would work Monday and Tuesday, and then they might still have to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever it may be. It still might be different. I always love this on the text line. Someone's joking. They're like, and you guys only work 20 hours a week. That's always my favorite one.
I technically work a little bit more than that.
We just do our 4-hour show. That's it.
Look, I'm also just going to.
You know how many times I've been
I
asked
don't have a hard
that?
job, okay? I get it.
Oh yeah, we have one of the most enjoyable jobs you could possibly have. But we do work more than 20 hours a week. I promise.
Yeah, I don't just show up at 9:59.
Thank goodness we're not hourly. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like that as much.
There was somebody who I worked with that actually, at a previous radio station I was at, I would produce a news show on the side. This guy would show up at 9:59 every day.
That's awful.
Every day.
That's terrible.
And then
They
no,
probably did not do a
and
very
then
good show.
Yeah, the show probably sucked.
Legitimately,
Quite terrible.
legitimately, he left about 5 minutes after the show was done.
I mean,
Like he didn't spend any time around the station at all. I mean, there's like no meet. If he had to go to a meeting, he did Zoom. If he couldn't be there, like it was very interesting.
Rob Kahn says he worked 115 hours over 6 days in Miami for the Super Bowl.
I believe it.
Well, they make him do
I
like
believe
hits
that.
at like 4 a.m. and then they make you do.
And
hits
then
at
there's
10
also,
p.m.
I mean, emergency situations, right? A lot of people mention if they work for like electric, Evergy or whatever, and there's a storm.
Yeah, I see that. And then there's people in the military like Desert Storm. I had to work
every
I had to work
hour,
6 months straight. You're like,
every hour, basically. No question.
Yeah,
there's always extremes to the answer to the question there. That's
I
the
can't
random
believe how many
question
of you
today.
have worked 100-hour weeks. We're out here.
It's impressive.
The maximum any of us
60.
said we was
Like
70.
60 or 70. That's the random question of the day. All right, coming up next, 1 o'clock hour, the Messi MVP race, and the Chargers reminding us once again of who they really are.
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Missouri or Kansas attorneys. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. CordellCordell.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Where can you find steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless, and occasionally random stuff in the back? The Foot, who has an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire. The Foot, who is KC's and Topeka's only stocking dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment. The Foot, who is KC's and Topeka's only Fronius authorized service and repair center. The Foot, where can you go to take a Fronius welder for a test drive? The Foot, where can you find Colossus, your friendly neighborhood robot? The Foot, just like Colossus, Metal by the Foot stands tall and ready to help both pro and DIY metal needs. For over 35 years, Metal by the Foot has continued to up their game by providing you with the convenience and selection of metals you have come to expect. Discover new and unique quality products to take your project and skills to the next level. Get instant pricing on most items at metalbythefoot.com. That's metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Missouri or Kansas attorneys. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. CordellCordell.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Enter now at overheaddoorkc.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorkc.com.
Tailgate season is turkey season. Score a touchdown with U.S. soy-fed turkey. Versatile, tasty, and truly different. Turkey can be used for succulent sliders, killer kebabs, championship chili, or even brilliant burn-ins. Explore all the recipes at tailgatewithturkey.com. And while you're there, register for the ultimate game day tailgate pack with premium prizes like local tabletop griddle, Yeti cooler, portable keg, and more valued at nearly $2,000. You'll be the pride of the parking lot. Turn up your tailgate, KC, at tailgatewithturkey.com.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's Jawan Taylor, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCST Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
1 o'clock hour, Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tap, Drew Nixon with you, hanging out here on a Tuesday. Of course, a reminder, we announced a little bit earlier on. I think next week maybe the plan is for a little T-shirt drop again. We'll have more details on that. You talked to Ray
Gunn.
Gunn.
You tell me to order. They say I'll order. We got to figure out sizes.
Okay.
I'm going to need a little help on sizes. I overdid it on the bigger sizes last time.
Again, the T-shirts, this stems from a couple weeks ago when we kicked Cody out of the studio and he went down to the parking lot, and within, 25 minutes, if that, all the Taylor Swift shirts were purchased, the same shirts that Ray Gunn sells, and it sounds like Ray Gunn's willing to do another T-shirt drop with us. And so T-shirts will be about $13. They're a little bit different Taylor Swift ones. We just got to work on the day. And, yeah, Cody wants to know what size T-shirts, because last time it turns out, Cody, a lot of people were buying them for their daughters or wives or whatever. So maybe we need to have smaller sizes available.
I think we'll have, last time, I don't even think I got smalls. I think I only got mediums, large, and extra large. And it was more large and extra large than any other particular size. I believe this time I will take the sizes down a little bit, have some of those available. So I'll still have extra larges available. I'm assuming there's still some people who wear extra large that want these Taylor Swift shirts. But yeah, T-shirt run number 2 is happening. There have already been, I've got to maybe order a slightly more than 50, because in building, I know for a fact now, Kling wants one for his kid. B-Dub wants one for his daughter. Our boss, Roxanne, I believe, also would like one. So
yeah, again, these are a little bit different
I'm
design.
I'm trying to get it 50 to the listener.
A little bit different design. They're not the same ones from the last drop. So just a heads up. We'll send out a photo once we get it all organized. A little bit different looking. And what does it say again? It says basically that they're rooting for Taylor's boyfriend, right? That's what the shirt says.
Yes, it says go Taylor's boyfriend with a football on it. It's perfect. Hey, she has done a lot to support Travis Kelce. That was the whole impetus of the first one.
Yeah.
We need to support her as well. This is a two-way street. She brought a lot of attention to the Chiefs and Travis Kelce. Let's try to get her some people who hadn't normally been cheering for Taylor Swift to be on that side.
Drew, if only there was enough people supporting Taylor Swift out there.
I just said the people who normally weren't.
That's right. If only there was enough people out there supporting Taylor Swift.
There's about to be a few more. Up until this point, how much Taylor Swift merch did you own?
Zero.
None. Now you own 1, maybe 2 by the time we do our next T-shirt drop. Who knows?
There's a decent chance of that.
You never know.
And Ray Gunn's also who's making our Listen Harder, Listen Longer shirts. I did order one of those already. That's online only. That'll be here.
I got to order that. I'm absolutely ordering one of those shirts.
Yeah. There you go.
Are you going to sell them this time, or is it still me that goes down?
We might kick you out again. I don't know.
We go down together? That's fine. I'm fine to run the T-shirt shop. It's okay. This is my fault, mostly anyway. We were too successful in our presumably illegal T-shirt selling out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's illegal. I'm just saying it could be. That's all. Meanwhile, in the NFL, I'd asked you this question because, we both talking from a sports betting perspective too, but just in general, for a third of the way through the season, this feels like a pretty messy MVP race. I know that because we don't think the Chiefs have played all that well offensively, and I think that that's absolutely accurate. And still right now, the favorite to win NFL MVP at most books is Patrick Mahomes. And I don't think at any point I felt like, he's definitely taking the reins. But then when you start going through the quarterback play across the league, the only guy who's definitively played better than him the entire year probably is Tua. Everyone else has had their bad game or had their struggles or thrown their picks. Tua's the only one, I think, through 6 games who has definitively played better than Patrick Mahomes. And I guess nobody believes he'll actually win the MVP. Why not?
Yeah, I think what has happened is you just have a lot of performances by the guys that the narrative was already set up for before the season that have been underwhelming overall. And there's been some injuries that have factored into it, as you were laying out with a little bit of the names out there as well. And yeah, Tua is the favorite at FanDuel, but it's pretty much a co-favorite with Patrick Mahomes at this point in time. I think going through each name, with the exception of Tua, everybody else has had a dud of a performance of the bunch. Tua has actually been the most consistent of the bunch, but people are skeptical. It's Tua. The injury concern is the fact that he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle being used against him the same way having Tyreek and Travis Kelce at times was used against Mahomes' case for the MVP. I mean, the third best odds is Josh Allen. Well, he's had a clunker to open up the season, and even though they won, he wasn't that great there on Sunday Night Football, but he's on a Buffalo Bills team that has a chance still to win the division. And that's the other part that you and I have discussed going back since we've been doing the show together when we've ever discussed MVP markets is based off of the narratives and the voters that are actually involved in this process, you have to win the division to even be in the ballpark of this. That's like the baseline. So when you're talking about Tua being plus 330 and Mahomes plus 340, Josh Allen plus 650, you have to win your division just to be in the running for it. And so Tua and Allen, they both, like, at some point, that's going to work itself out.
I think so, yes. But then also I was trying to decide, like I was looking at this and trying, okay, let's not be Kansas City people, right? Let's just look at this from who do we actually think at the end of the season is hoisting that trophy? The same thing I asked you is at the end of the year, right now, if all the money was equal, Gold didn't matter, and you had to bet on somebody to win MVP. Like they're going to give you the same odds. Everyone's 5-1 now, Gold. Are you betting Mahomes? Narrative, everything, story? Because, I mean, taking the best quarterback, there's nothing wrong with that notion. But I also think that when this thing shakes out, you probably should just choose an NFC quarterback. The AFC is a mess. There are a lot of really good defenses in the AFC. I think some of the numbers are going to be squashed down because of that. And I guess I don't think Tua can win the MVP unless they finish with the best record in the AFC. Because part of his story is he has one of the most talented offenses in the entire league. That was the thing that should have been hurting Brock Purdy this whole time. If anything, the way the wide receivers have played the first 6 weeks for Kansas City helps Patrick Mahomes' case. He doesn't have a single wide receiver with more than 400 yards receiving? Tyreek Hill might have more than the top 4 wide receivers on the Chiefs team combined. Am I wrong? I mean, that's probably close, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably part of the reason why he's still in the mix there, and not just in the mix, but a co-favorite. There's also the fact that you're confident that the Chiefs are going to win this division, and they might end up as the number 1 overall seed. And so right there, that's a huge part of this. If you're looking further down, though, like on someone that maybe is not in the top 3 odds right now, Jalen Hurts at plus 850 is still intriguing. And then, Cody, more of a long shot, a Lamar Jackson at 14-1. If he can win the AFC North, his issue right now, have you looked at Lamar Jackson's passing numbers and how low it is currently?
No.
It is worse than where Jalen Hurts at times was pacing last year, and Jalen Hurts had the rushing numbers. Right now, Lamar Jackson has 1,200 yards passing and 5 touchdowns, just 5 touchdowns through the air. And on the ground, at this point, you're not seeing the massive. What's that?
I said it's not going to be him then.
Yeah, that's why he's where he's at. But in the odds market, but yeah, he's basically so far, passing-wise, pacing way below even where Jalen Hurts was.
I did look it up, by the way.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill does have more receiving yardage than the top 4 wide receivers on the Chiefs roster currently combined. Come on, that's nuts. You tell me you can't sell that narrative for MVP? Tyreek Hill has over 800 receiving yardage. The top 4 receivers for the Chiefs right now, Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Sky Moore, and MVP. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave them Noah Gray's number. It's actually lower than that. He's got about 120. He might have more than the first 5. That should help his narrative when we're going through this thing. Like you said, the biggest problem probably for him is that he won it last year. If he hadn't won it last year, I think I'd be feeling probably more in line, Gold, about where you are in this. Because at that point, it starts to feel realistic. How many receiving yards does Tyreek Hill have?
Over 800, right? I think he's over 800 yards already. The Tyreek Hill, to me, you're just wasting your
top 5 wide receivers for the Chiefs, 817 to 814 for Tyreek Hill. They got him edged out.
Look, Tyreek Hill's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, the way things are treating, but you're wasting your money on a 55-1 Tyreek Hill MVP bet. It's just not the way the award's set up. Fair or not.
He should win, though. He should
be in the conversation.
He should, through 6 weeks,
he
deserves the same odds as like Jalen. Like, to me, he deserves the same odds as like Purdy or Jalen Hurts. Like, he should be in that 10-15-1 camp. I don't like an award that even when extenuating circumstances allow themselves to do it, you won't even entertain it. He might have 2,300 receiving yards this year and 18 touchdowns. That should get you in the conversation.
I know. It's just not going. It's just not going to. Christian McCaffrey's 24-1. And Tyreek's 55-1. We'll see where McCaffrey's injury status is as the week continues. But it's just tough. I mean, if you're going further on the board, someone mentioned on the text line, I don't disagree. The issue is the narrative. Jared Goff at 19-1 is fascinating. One of the best teams in football right now. They could end up with 14 wins, 13 wins, and he's actually putting up really good numbers. Problem is the name recognition, fair or not. Like, Jared Goff is, for voters right now, he's got to do more to impress someone than Jalen Hurts, who I still think is actually in a decent spot to find a way to win this award.
The thing that helps him is he fell short last year and they still won it. It's an interesting race. It's more interesting than this time last year when I thought we'd already kind of narrowed it down to 3, and one of those guys was Patrick Mahomes, who eventually won the award. One guy who you and I adamantly try to convince, I think, the entire betting market out of betting, Justin Herbert. Never made any sense to bet him for MVP because you and I said one very obvious thing, Gold. He can't win his division. And if you can't win your division, you can't win the MVP. Last night, upon watching the Chargers and Cowboys thing, one very clear thing stood out to me that I think has got to be, if you're a Chargers fan, and if you're a Chiefs fan, great, the most frustrating thing about him. Why is Justin Herbert exactly the same caliber of quarterback as he was 4 years ago? How has there been no modicum of improvement from a team perspective, from an offensive perspective, from a yardage, touchdown, ability, completion percentage? What quarterback have you ever seen not get better or worse? Normally, Gold, it goes one way or the other. Justin Herbert has spent 4 years in the NFL looking like an identical quarterback. I've never seen anything like it. It's weird.
I mean, I feel like as you were saying that out loud, I was like, I feel like you're almost answering your question within that. What I mean by that is, when in sports do we think that a very talented player is flatlining? What do we normally blame it on? Coaching. Hello, Brandon Staley. Like, I'm not trying to make excuses for Herbert. He certainly has not elevated his game the way a lot of people thought he would. But if you're asking, like, what's the reason behind it? We might find out a year or two from now that he's just a more athletically talented Phillip Rivers, who, by the way, had a very nice career, even though people want to make jokes about him. He had a very nice career. And he's not going to be one of these top 5 quarterbacks. Or we're going to find out that Brandon Staley wasn't a very good head coach. They tried to go get him an offensive-minded OC in Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore has not helped the way everybody thought he would to this point. So I think it's coaching, Cody. That's the one constant there. Coaching, who's about to get fired, by the way. Brandon Staley is going to be gone at the end of the season unless they suddenly get hot and win a playoff game.
They get hot and win a playoff game and then lose out, and they keep – because none of us think Staley's a good coach. If you're a Kansas Cityan, root for Sean Payton to keep his job, root for Brandon Staley to keep his job, root for Josh McDaniels to keep their job. They're all way worse coaches than other ones that might be available.
Yeah, but I will say, I mean, Justin Herbert, he can be the top 5 quarterback. Take the coaching part out of it. I don't think he's going to end up being there. I mean, I think now the question is, Cody, can he end up being a top 10 quarterback throughout his career? I think that's where it's changed. Before, he might be one of the 4 best quarterbacks in football. That's not going to happen. I don't care if he changes coaches. That may not happen anymore. He might now be like the 7th to 10th best if he gets the right head coach. Because right now he looks like the 10th best quarterback in football.
A little better than that, but yeah. I don't disagree with the notion that it's harder to put him in the top 5. I still think he's one of the 5 most talented, but he's not performing like that. People are talking about his desperation beard.
Oh, it is.
It's not
a good moment for him.
Drew's just shaking his head. Is the desperation beard bad?
That's never a good sign.
He's stressed out.
He's not going quite Todd Haley yet, but that's usually a sign. It's just things are it's time to shake it up.
You're spending more time at the facility. Can't even get the razor out because you're
text line's
just so focused on fixing this offense. Is it that?
Yeah, text line's right. The problem is for Herbert, he's being paid like a top 3 quarterback. Yeah, that's the problem for the Chargers. Good news for everybody else. But yeah, I just think right now they have to go and get an offensive-minded head coach in the offseason for Justin Herbert.
Like, just
have
look
to
at
go and do
Tua
it.
Mike McDaniel. Are you sure you wouldn't want to go get the Mike McDaniel of this year?
Well, the answer
Ben Johnson.
The answer to that is the Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. That's exactly right, Drew. That's exactly who the name will be. He'll be one of the hottest names, though, this offseason.
Look, I'm not rooting for that because I'm hoping they get another bad coach, but still.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you're the Chiefs, I wouldn't like that idea at all because if you think of all the teams to probably fire their head coach, the Chargers is probably, from a just on paper standpoint, one of the most favorable spots to start and get your first head coaching job at, as opposed to going to a team that's not great, obviously.
Someone pointed out on the text line, they're right. That, or if Kellen Moore does decent enough later in the year, could they just elevate Kellen Moore to head coach? Maybe, but that's the thing. If the offense doesn't improve, why would I hire the OC?
According to the offshore books, by the way, here are the current odds. Most likely to be fired, probably not surprising to anybody, Matt Eberflus, who obviously his Bears are terrible. Brandon Staley, number 2. Number 2 on the list. Bill Belichick is 3rd. That's too high for Bill.
That's not high.
Look, he is coaching like one of the guys but come on. And then they list Mike Vrabel, Brian Dable and Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera should be so much higher.
They're
on
500
this
right now,
list.
though.
I know.
He's not going to get fired in season, I don't
No,
think.
I think he'll get. I don't think a lot of these guys are getting fired in season.
Was-
I think the
was
only
the
guy who has
odds-
a chance to be fired in season is Eberflus.
Right, but weren't the odds first coach fired?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about. So we definitely are talking. I mean, someone's getting fired in season at some point this year, right?
that's fair.
I don't think we're going to make it through a whole season without one coach getting fired in season.
I feel like there's a possibility, too, of, say Ryan Day is gone from Ohio State. Mike Vrabel, I think, is on the top of a lot of people's list to go back to his alma mater. And
you think Vrabel would go back to the college game
and coach college football?
He's a good NFL head coach. I don't know.
He is a good
Does
NFL
he want
head
to
coach.
mess
but
with the recruiting and that crap?
yeah.
I don't know.
that's a good point.
I don't know the answer. I'm just like,
Where's Ryan Day going, by the way? I haven't been paying attention to that. People think he might get an NFL job?
Well, people think that he's going to get fired if they don't beat Ohio State. Like if they lose to Michigan again, or if they lose to, which I think is ridiculous
Dude,
because
college
he's
football's nuts. Just
Yeah.
like they put your entire safety as a head coach
a lot of
on
people
beating
don't like
one
him.
team.
Well, you may not like the guy. That's fair. I don't really like Ryan Day that much
Turned out,
either.
like,
But
number one overall pick.
I root against for Ohio State as much as anybody else does, I think. But
he's
they're
51-6.
This is the same. Well, no, this is the funny thing about that. It's the
Imagine
same.
getting fired after winning 98% of your games.
It is the same conversation that people had about Jim Harbaugh, or leading up to when he finally beat Ohio State.
Yeah, that's true.
He had a similar record, and everybody was like, "Get him out," because you have to beat the rival, and that's how crazy college football can be. Is where people will react because you win 90% of your games, but you can't beat Michigan.
They just lost in the college football playoff semifinal. This is where
By 3
you're right,
points.
though. This is a very college thing on a much
is.
smaller scale. We all
Anyways.
remember Nebraska, right? Like when they had Bo Pelini, like,
You always think-
wasn't good enough to win 8 or 9 games, and now they would die for a 9-win football season up in Lincoln.
Sorry to transition to college,
you're
but,
good.
but,
You're
but, but I
good.
think that is a conversation that has been brought up before as well. If Ryan Day's gone, could Vrabel just say, you know what, I'm tired of dealing with drafting 3 quarterbacks or bringing 3 quarterbacks in, and it's just not working with any of them? Do I go
Here's the
somewhere
thing, man.
else?
He made an AFC title game with Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. Someone said, would Bill Belichick, if he leaves the Patriots, go to L.A.? The Chargers don't need another defensive-minded head coach. They need an offensive-minded head coach if they were to fire Brandon Staley.
You can do worse than Bill, but
You
my
don't
whole
want a
argument is-
defensive-minded head coach, though.
You know what what I want to know about Bill is if he got offered, like let's say they parted ways, mutually agreed to part ways at the end, would he take a job in which he is not also the general manager? Is he willing?
Someone would give it to him, though.
Like I know, but is he willing, like Andy Reid was, to let that part of his job go and just be an NFL head coach?
My guess
because
is
I'd be
no.
a lot less interested in hiring Bill Belichick if I have to let him do everything.
Yeah.
Literally no other coach in the entire NFL does both jobs anymore. Very few have done both jobs in the last 15 years. You're
I think
a
his ego's too
dinosaur in
big.
that regard.
I think his ego's too big.
Just find it. Like, look, we used to sit here and say that Andy was the puppet master and Veach was the puppet. If just like find a GM who will accept it, like people think that about the job you're doing. And if you're Bill Belichick, what do you think? You think you have no say on your roster? You think Andy Reid has no say on who Brett Veach adds? Stop it. You still get plenty of control. You still get plenty of control over the players you want. There's just somebody else thinking about that job all the time while you should be thinking about football. That's it. Let it go. He's also 70, so I don't know. I'd want to just be doing less. That man's probably working 120 hours a week like we were just talking about. What do you think the most hours in a week Bill Belichick ever worked?
Oh, well over 80.
Well, right? I mean,
900. I mean, seriously, I'm
Andy
like,
Reid, they talked about when he was assistant, he
Cody,
would go into the building from like 3 to 6:30 a.m. so he could come home and have breakfast with his kid before school.
Their hours are nuts. On an NFL Sunday, he might let's say you're getting there at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and you're the home team, and the game gets over at 3:30 in the afternoon. You're probably staying at the facility till midnight. Sometimes
You're grinding like 17-hour days.
I do think
yeah.
sometimes that sometimes they probably stay at the facility longer than they actually need to stay at the facility.
Oh, we've talked about this. There's a level of like you're not getting anything productive done. You're just sitting here treading water.
Go home. Go home for a few hours. Spend some time with the family.
It's like Jalen Hurts saying what he spent. What was it? 16 hours? Is that what he said, or something like that?
Yeah,
to that,
we make
to that
fun
effect?
of that on the air. I was like, that's too much. You're not getting anything done.
And that,
at some point, you're not accomplishing.
And that's a player. That's not the head coach. I feel like Bill has definitely spent at least how many 24-hour days? Like, hey, I'm just staying here tonight. Has he spent? Probably more than you can count.
Yeah, probably. I'm not coming home tonight. I'm just gonna power nap for 2.5 hours. What do you think? What do you think Bill Belichick's go-to caffeine is? You think he's just a straight black coffee guy? You think? I mean, I can't imagine Bill Belichick chugging down a Red Bull.
I feel like he's a Diet Coke guy.
Ooh, Diet Coke.
I think
guy.
Bill Belichick's a Diet Coke guy.
I think he is. Yeah.
I'll go with the Diet Coke. Yeah, someone's right. Sometimes I feel like they're intentionally trying to stay away from their families too. At times.
It makes you wonder if they
because of the distraction, maybe.
Or I just sometimes I think
like not being able to work from home because of.
Well, I just mean sometimes I think they might take advantage of it. Also, just like I got to stay at the office late. Sorry. I think that sometimes happens with some people, not all of them.
Sure.
With some of them.
Sorry, I'm reading an article that might suggest.
Someone says.
Look, I understand probably missing it, but I just don't like coffee. Can't stand the smell of coffee. Oh, okay. What are you talking about? Glasses of milk? He's talking about, what do you drink? God, this is such a Bill Belichick answer. Apparently, it's just not part of his vices. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I'm going to have to do research in the break because now he obviously drinks. He's talking about liking scotch and those things in this article. But I want to know what his
There was an article from 2012 that said on Belichick's big night. And it says, so do you think Bill Belichick's gone to bed yet? What do I know? But I wouldn't be shocked to find out that he worked straight through the night, that powered by a case of Diet Coke, a Bon Jovi box set, and the good vibes from a headline-stealing first round. Belichick hasn't stopped since Thursday. Diet Coke it is.
Okay. You were right. I don't remember ever hearing that. So
I just as a guess. Just strikes me as a Diet Coke guy.
Just felt right.
A little bit older, but not going to go heavy on the energy drinks.
Thing, right? So no coffee for him.
Yeah, I don't know if that
like a caffeine rule.
Yeah, but I don't know if everybody follows it or not. I don't know. That's way too deep. I don't know. Not sure. But you're correct.
You lived in Boise.
Yeah,
there's
but not everybody.
population.
But it's not just like any other religion. Not everybody always follows everything to a T.
No.
Like my co-host out there did not. My co-host out there drank Coke Zero because of that, but does not mean every single.
What's your rule? Do you fast during the high holidays?
When I was a kid, I did. I haven't done that in years though.
Okay, didn't know.
Yeah, as a kid, I did. Yeah.
God, I can't imagine trying to convince a kid not to eat 12 straight hours in the day. I don't want that paddle. My kids ask for snacks every 32 seconds. I'm not going to try to convince a kid no. Sorry. Nothing for the next sun up to sundown.
All right, coming up next, we will get to what's trending here on Cody and Gold and get back into a little bit on what's ahead with the Royals downtown stadium project. A little update on that next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Tune in to hear Andy Reid every Monday at noon, exclusively on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Get ready, Kansas City. It's Medicare annual enrollment period. So why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Kansas City. Trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
It's tailgate season and Smokehouse Barbecue has you covered. Whether you plan on going to a game or having the party at your house, Smokehouse Barbecue will be there with you. Plus, you can take advantage of their game day special. A slab of baby back ribs, a pound of burnt ends, a pound of wings, a quart of beans, paperware, and servings for 6, all for just $79.95. They also have private banquet rooms at all 3 KC locations. Check them out at SmokehouseBBQ.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
It will occur today only, from 11 till 8 only, the final day. Last 9 hours of the 2023 Super Sale at NFM.
They called it the Super Sale because that's exactly what it is. Super savings, super selection, one super credit offer.
Till it ends at 8 tonight at NFM. Create a fabulous new room at once-a-year Super Sale deals.
You'll save on new furniture, mattress sets in all sizes, home theater, kids' room furniture, lift chairs,
home office, major appliances, carpet, flooring, electronics, the list goes on and on.
$99 installation on qualifying in-store appliances and TV purchases.
Save more with 24-month financing available on qualifying purchases.
18% APR, minimum monthly payments required, exclusions apply. See store for details.
Super savings, super selection. Everything's on sale for the final hours, even those new fall arrivals in stock, ready for drive-through pickup or convenient delivery.
Hurry! The 2023 Super Sale ends at 8 tonight at NFM.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, it's Bob Fesco. This NFL season, Crown Royal is giving back to the generous hosts that make game day royal. To the fans that open their doors and celebrate Kansas City game day, cheering on our tight end with a plate full of burnt ends. So raise a glass for the hosts of every watch party and kick off with Crown, because Crown Royal believes if you live generously, life will treat you royally. Visit crownroyal.com to find out how Crown is living generously all season long. Please drink responsibly.
Hey guys, Beat Up here. You hear me talking about Slim for Life all the time. You know why? Because it works. I've lost over 77 pounds in just a short time and I feel great. For me, Slim for Life is life-changing. Losing weight has some real health benefits. Lana's results were transformational. Lana, tell me about your Slim for Life journey.
I have lost 100 pounds and 75 inches to date. My cholesterol's went from 260 to about 143. Triglycerides are down and everything looks good. I feel better. You know, I can get up and move and I love it. I'm serious.
If you're ready to make that life-changing call, now is the time. It's the last week to take advantage of Slim for Life 6 weeks for only $66. And you have the option to add semaglutide medications to your plan for only $99 for your first 4 weeks. 833-SLIM today. That's the number 833-754-6863. Or you can hit them online at slim4life.com. And when you schedule that free consultation, you could win tickets to see our defending Super Bowl champions play on November 20th. All services included, exclusive of products. Make the call. Be Slim for Life. Tell them Beat Up sent ya.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Oh, I love this restaurant. Glad we got a table quickly.
What does that sign say?
Caution, wet floor?
No, right next to it.
If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60. I didn't know that.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Discover, this is Danny.
Hi, it's Jen Coolidge. I just want to thank you for making me feel so special. I earned cash back on debit for my dinner party groceries.
That's great. But with Discover Cashback Debit, we give everyone cash back on everyday purchases. Anything else I can help you with?
Are you hungry? Because everyone left after the asparagus sorbet.
Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a checking account with cash back. It pays to Discover. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit GetJim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports Radio is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on What's Trending, MLB postseason continues tonight, a little after 7 o'clock. Game 2 of the NLCS, D-backs and Phillies. It's a 1-0 Phillies lead in that series. And then tomorrow night, how about the Rangers? Already a 2-game lead, and the series shifts over to Arlington. Astros in some trouble right now, down 2-0 after losing 2 games at home. That one will be tomorrow night, though. But, man, Texas looks good, that offense. They also got great pitching from Jordan Montgomery, who was once not good enough, according to Brian Cashman of the Yankees, for their rotation. And he's now about to get a huge deal in the offseason from somebody. Jordan Montgomery is, after what he's been able to do for the Rangers this year.
Yeah, certainly seems like he's going to make a ton of money, which I guess is good for him. Less good for the team who said he wasn't good enough to be in their rotation, who didn't even make the postseason. But that's, different story. And again, we like watching the Astros and Yankees fail. And Bryce Harper has become an increasingly likable player to root for just across the board. And then he hit a home run on his birthday yesterday in the playoff game. Just fun, but a fun playoff so far. Next up on What's Trending, Brett Yormark was speaking at Big 12 Media Days here in Kansas City and says they're in discussions for an extension to keep the men's and women's Big 12 tournaments right here in Kansas City through 2031. Look, this is excellent news. As a reminder, when Brett Yormark showed up in town, his first thought on the matter was, are you sure? You sure that you really want to be in Kansas City? Like, even he wasn't sure. And honestly, a lot of the new teams that are being added to the conference have been very vocal, Gold. They think that it should be in Vegas or some of these other more accommodating cities. Big 12 tournament does so well in Kansas City. Brett Yormark saw that. That's why they're in talks about whether or not it should be here till 2031.
This is actually what Brett Yormark had to say back in July about the negotiations with Kansas City.
This is my first time spending significant time in Kansas City. I went there with lots of different thoughts, came away hugely impressed. We don't have to share our voice in a market like Kansas City during our basketball championship. If you look at some of the other markets, there's multiple conference championships going on at the same time. And the fan base in and around Kansas City, the community, they really embrace this tournament. Obviously next year, our women's championship moves to T-Mobile, which we're extremely excited about. So when I think about Kansas City now, I certainly think about that market, and that championship is one that I'd like to double down on. And we are in conversations with local officials on extending that agreement as well.
That was in July, and then now we're hearing it once again today. So it sounds like it's going to happen, that this thing's going to get extended to 2031. Awesome news for Kansas City.
7-8 years guaranteed in Kansas City is great news. Look, I don't know how long it'll last. Maybe some of these other conferences will eventually be like, hey, do you mind it being somewhere else? You know what the easiest thing is? When you have you seen what the attendance is in some of these other conference tournaments in these other cities? It stinks. It's terrible.
Yeah, the way
it is incredibly well attended here by comparison.
Yeah, the way Wednesday night looks here, which is the empty one, that's how it is for the first 3 days of a lot of conference tournaments across the country. Next up on What's Trending, some NFL injury news. Ryan Tannehill, high ankle sprain, but it will not require surgery, so a little bit of a break there, although Ryan Tannehill has been really rough to start this season for the Titans. Also in that same division, Jim Irsay saying Anthony Richardson likely done for the year, the rookie quarterback for the Colts. Big blow, obviously, to his development and trying to get him ready to go. Now next year, the same questions in the unknown are going to still exist next year.
Well, coming into the draft, he was thought of as the least NFL-ready quarterback out of the entire group. Now, unfortunately, doesn't get a chance to be a part of that. That does hurt. I mean, right now, out of the 3 guys who were taken in that top 10 range, C.J. Stroud looks like the real deal and probably the likely NFL Rookie of the Year at the moment. Bryce Young has had some struggles, and Anthony Richardson's season looks like it's going to be done. Lastly, on What's Trending, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, as if they don't own enough or aren't in the news enough, they have joined Alpine Formula One team's minority ownership group. So they're going in on a co-ownership of a Formula One team, part of a large stake. People who join the partners at a 24% stake of the team, they're part of that group. Remember, everything is so expensive to own these days. You might own 0.5% or a portion of 1% of these things, but they're going in together. Both Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce will be part of an F1 team together.
Why not, Why not?
Patrick Mahomes has part of an F1 team part of a pickleball team, right? Like the professional pickleball team, part of the KC Current, part of the Royals.
Part of the Broncos, part of the
He owns all the
Raiders,
Broncos.
and part of the Chargers as well. It's pretty impressive.
Owns the entire AFC West. Congrats.
Pretty impressive. That is what's trending.
I saw you slide that in. That was nice. He owns the AFC West.
That's not wrong. The man has like 3 losses in the division in almost 6 full seasons as a quarterback. That's kind of a remarkable number.
No, look, you got the money. There's going to be all kinds of investment opportunities. You got to sift through the good ones and the bad ones. F1 sure seems like a hell of an investment.
I saw that the KC Current put out, their new stadium looks like it's going to be incredible.
Can't wait. March, man.
They look like they're going to have a Joe's. It appears now they're going to have a Joe's KC in the studio. Is this a good chance for us to revive C&G Pizza?
Oh, no.
Do you think?
I think
Drew
it's
wasn't
dead.
here for this.
I think
Drew,
the
just real
dream's
quick.
dead, Cody.
When a historic bar here in Kansas City, Kelly's, they had a pizza place right next to it for years and years and years.
He's never been.
Turns out, wow, I haven't been to Kelly's yet. I haven't done a good job.
You know what? We can talk about this off air. Drew's birthday is Saturday.
to
You're probably
Kelly's.
doing something with your wife on one of the nights, Friday night or Saturday. Whichever night you're not, we should go
to
get drinks
Kelly's?
or something. Or, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah.
We haven't technically planned anything yet, so.
Okay.
Maybe your wife's surprising you.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. She hadn't said anything.
So through a pass-through window, there was a pizza place that was there forever. Then we saw that they were closing and it was going up for sale. We at that time had the idea, and I got very intense into the research of it, of what if we took over the space right next to a bar that we trust and we became pizza shop owner, C&G Pizza, Cody and Gold Pizza, here it is. Turns out Guy's Deli and Snacks had long worked out. I had messaged the owner of Kelly's, who owns the lease on the building, and been like, hey, what's the scoop on this? Is there a way to get my name thrown in the hat? Turns out the deal was already done, so it was too late. We know some people over at the KC Current. Could we get a C&G pizza spot?
Pizza that's never had pizza yet.
It doesn't matter. It's a local place. Local teams like working with local companies. We would be a local company. Same question applies. Are you each willing to work one game day a month?
I mean, I'll already be there. I have season tickets for the new stadium.
Yeah, but just one day, can you give those season tickets somewhere else and work behind the glass?
I could, yeah.
One day a week.
Yeah.
Something tells me pizza-wise, it'll either be some generic one or they'll partner up with like Minsky's or Old Shawnee Pizza, or you keep going through.
If just someone from the KC Current is listening, or I'll message the people that we know in the organization. If you're interested in a locally owned pizza stop that maybe hasn't existed yet, but could.
Smart choice, though, to have
C&G Pizzas on the table.
Smart choice for them, though. They're going to have some Z-Man inside of the KC Current Stadium, which again opens up this spring. They've come quite a long ways from the stadium project perspective and everything, and I believe there's only like a couple hundred season tickets left.
Yeah, it's a really low number. It's going to be a sellout most
every
days.
night. Every night it's going to be a sellout. Really cool.
They set how many attendance records this year? Bunch, right?
Yeah, the last one was over 15,000. Their last game of the year.
Where are the season tickets left? Are they only the good ones or only the bad ones?
No, there's some good ones left too. Yeah, it's kind of all. I think a lot of the cheaper ones are already out, but yeah, I think there's still some of the.
What's the lowest price season ticket you can get? Like $400?
Well, no. So they had a supporter section that sold out immediately once, because you had to place a deposit.
Yeah,
people place a deposit like a year and a half ago. Those were only $190.
Wow. Okay.
That's a deal.
Those were gone like that. It's 14 matches, so they sold out pretty quick. Thinking of stadiums, though, little update on the future of the Royals. This comes from the KC Business Journal, also Jonathan Katz over at Fox 4, that Jackson County has counteroffered. We don't know when, though. It could have been 5 months ago. It could have been last week.
Yeah, the article doesn't clearly state it. So.
But that Jackson County counteroffered with maybe a different way to go about the funding on the county's portion for the Royals Stadium. In this case, we're talking Jackson County, so the downtown East Village site. But basically, under this counter proposal, the county would pay $15 million a year for 20 years, so $300 million. And this would not be the 3/8 cent sales tax extension for the Royals. This would be funding it through other methods. And then it makes you wonder on the other side, that means the Chiefs would, just get all of the future sales tax extension to themselves? Is that why?
Why else would you not just do one sales tax incentive for both the people you want to pay money to?
But is this so this proposal, and doesn't mean it's going to get accepted, but was this because the county knows that they're going to have to try to keep both teams in Jackson County? They're going to have to get a little more creative? I don't know.
I think they're having to. It must be something. It must be something about the creative nature of the money. I think a lot of this is Jackson County knows a lot of these deals have been getting done lately. And the public outcry in a lot of these cities has been, you're just giving too much to these professional organizations to build these things. We've talked about it. I don't want to get back into the business side of it.
Sure.
In a perfect utopian world, people worth billions of dollars would just pay for
all of it. Yeah.
We also understand that that's not how the system is designed to work or does work. What I think is interesting about that possible counter is the Royals have made it clear they just want an extension of the sales tax. So if they're not getting an extension of the sales tax, then how do we go about, like if that's not the way it's going to go down, then would they really accept alternative funding? Or are the Chiefs quietly behind closed doors hinting at the idea that they would probably like more money than that?
Well, it mentions in the KC Business Journal article that the Chiefs potentially are looking for a shorter lease than the 30,
they're trying to keep
maybe 25,
and then build a new one, aren't they? In 20 years.
It mentions. I do think the Chiefs prefer to renovate. Yeah, which I think you and I are on the same page. To me, if you're gonna have taxpayers ponying up a $500 million or $300 million, and you're gonna spend overall $1.5 billion on a project or $1 billion, to me, now's the time to strike while you have Mahomes winning rings and stuff. Go build a whole new palace.
Yeah.
I don't know
but
why.
They're trying to, because they think, the concrete cancer, the Chiefs know the same thing the Royals do, which is Arrowhead will not stand forever. It's just not built in a way that will allow it to stand forever, and it will greatly limit their ability to continue to grow as a franchise and for us to continue to grow as a city from a industrial standpoint. I don't know why. And people are like, well, how can Lambeau? I don't know why. I'm just telling you that very, very smart people who are in charge of those things will tell you that there's a shelf life. I think what's happening here is that Clark wants to not get rid of Arrowhead yet. He doesn't want that to be on his watch. He wants it to be on the person behind his watch. And if you get the pay and 25 years, you can renovate Arrowhead hundreds of millions of dollars and get
Someone
it.
says the other alternative funding method for Jackson County is just high property tax.
Well, they already did that. They had to walk all that
back.
back.
What a disaster that was. Again, I don't live in Jackson County, but oh my goodness.
I did for a very, very, very long time.
What a mess that all is. I already heard back from someone at the KC Current.
Wait, who the hell's getting back to the KC Current?
I got an email already, and the subject line was C&G Pizza. It just says, I'll put in a good word for you guys.
All right, moving forward. We're going to need a lot of heroes if we're going to start our own pizza shop inside of the KC Current. It's very close to my house. Wouldn't take me long to get down there for work. We could probably get listeners involved. We could get some people. You could stimulate this economy.
We could.
You might even be able to get your first employee. My wife might be down to serve.
Does she want to be the manager? I mean, she's done retail management. She seems like she could be in charge of people.
You know what? Let me ask her right now. She might be on her break.
Would she like to be the manager of the future? God, we already have a manager? All of us picking up a shift here or there?
I love how you said we already have a manager before we have the most important, the concept, the money, and how the pizza's going to taste.
We haven't even
have a manager, though.
Hold on real quick. What style of pizza do you guys want to do? Not Chicago. I'm anti-Chicago style.
It's got to be, it's not St. Louis style. I'll tell you that.
No, God, no.
Just normal
like a pan pizza, just like
a pan pizza, or a combo of like New York style and Chicago style. We offer both.
New York style works well in a stadium because like the fold up style of pizza. That's a good combo. Someone says start with a sauce. That's our step one. I've made my own pizza sauce before, so maybe we could workshop this in the old kitchen. Figure out which recipe we want to go with. No, I've never made it in bulk. You know who else could help us out? Our guy from Old Shawnee Pizza.
Well, he called in about a year and a half ago.
He said that's when we were. When we were shifting to food truck.
Yeah, he
said.
He
said Pizza died. We talked food truck, and he said no way.
He said you have no idea how much that's going to cost. He's like, it's going to cost you guys a fortune. Anyway,
there's got to be rich people that want to support.
I'll be curious what other food options they have. Again, the Current's going to have Joe's KC in there, so we'll see. They got to have some pizza offering. The question is who. You don't need to just do a national chain. Go local. My guess is they're going to try to keep going local.
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, at least on that end. It seems like...
Keep it local, you know? Heck, look at the airport. It's like mostly local. That was a goal behind a lot of the restaurants in the airport. There's a couple national chains.
I just like this
Shaq's Chicken Place or whatever it's called up there.
The same text that said, start with a sauce. Next, you need a good crust. I understand how pizza's made, sir. I understand that
sauce.
In order for people to like it, fresh ingredients.
But you first were starting with, we got a manager, as if we didn't have the.
I don't think we have the money to go wood fired. That's a very expensive oven. I think we're just going to go regular pizza oven.
Brick oven?
Oh, man, can we do brick oven pizza at the stadium?
Now Cody wants to be like Grimaldi's knockoff over there.
There's a lot of good pizza joints in the city.
You guys have to promise me that if you do this, you have pepperoni-filled breadsticks. So good.
Well, guys does those like
Dude,
pizza.
if you're gonna have an offering at a stadium, you gotta have a limited menu. You can't be. It's got to be 4 items that you do great.
But I think we could do. I think we do the pizza.
Pizza rolls.
It's perfect. It's like a snack.
I think we could do that. Someone says they'd love to interview the job. 12 years at Pizza Hut, 5 years at Little Caesars. Very qualified.
Someone else says they'll sell the pizzas for $50K a year. It's a little bit out of our budget. Sorry.
Like you're gonna be the only person selling them? I don't know. It's probably seasonal work. I don't know.
Seasonal work, made mainly off of tips, unfortunately.
What? No, we're going to take care of our employees.
I'm just saying that. You asked how it normally works to the concessions.
I'm saying we're going to take care of
I talked to the
people.
beer vendor. I was in Lawrence for a KU football game like a week or two ago. I was talking to the beer vendor because I was having a couple Michelob Ultras throughout the game. And the guy said, ultimately, he said the way they do it there, they were all based off, they didn't get paid hourly. They were just off of tips. I was like, that sounds awful.
How is that legal?
I don't know. That's what the guy claimed.
Not at our pizza. We're going to take care of you. We're going to pay you a very competitive hourly rate.
A custom-made apron.
Someone said,
we take care of
my
people.
guess is that Minsky's might be the offering in the KC Current.
I'm just saying if they haven't settled in on their pizza choice inside the stadium, please consider C&G Pizza.
Someone says it's stadium food. You guys don't have to have as high quality. I think they're trying to have a lot better stadium offerings. Yeah.
We want to be the best stadium. Someone said you're about to work 80-hour work weeks.
KC Current games, and there's going to be concerts at the new stadium, some other events.
Oh, yeah. We are
Here we go.
Good point.
My wife said, manage it, sure.
Oh, she's in.
She's in. For free, it sounds like. Perfect. She didn't say
for free. All we got to do is beat her current salary. That's it.
Go.
Can just come over. Or just be a better place to work. Maybe for the same salary.
She said she's not going to flip pizzas, though, because she used to work at Papa John's, and it didn't go too well for her.
She's got pizza experience.
Yeah, but she said it didn't go too well.
No, she said the physical flipping of the pizza.
This
She
is
knows
making the pizza.
business. She knows the business part of it, okay?
C&G.
She'll do Zoom meetings and meet up with people and partners, and
Again, this is not
This is maybe the only person on the Texan who's ever said this from the 6-0. I love Cody's entrepreneur thinking.
This is not the first time it's come up. Again, last time we ran into some copyright issues with the name already. Because if you Google C&G Pizza, there's a restaurant in New Hampshire.
Okay,
maybe we can just take their recipe and partner
We're
up.
states and states away. We don't have to worry about that. We don't
Here's
have to
their
worry
story.
about
What's our story and background, though, Cody? Because theirs is growing up as second-generation Italian Americans from New York. Our close-knit families taught us the importance of good food. We don't have a great story like that behind our C&G. They're already C&G Pizza.
Two local...
They're already C&G.
Two local kids who just happen to run into a sports talk radio show together who want to start a pizza. So what? That's in New Hampshire. We can't have two similar named restaurants 17 states apart.
I don't know.
If you guys actually had a shop as well, you could put like all kinds of memorabilia out there. Like people would come just to look, just to hang out.
Texline's even helping. Look, they're telling me what they used to do the hiring for Sporting KC. They're already telling me what the competitive
this is great.
hourly rate is. I already know what I'm supposed to pay people.
Someone says Grinders Pizza is already going to be there. I don't know. Is that the inside scoop?
Oh man!
Apparently, from the Current, they're going to put in a good word. So we'll see.
That's right. I did receive a response back. I did get. Someone did. I don't know if they want me to mention it on air or not, so I'll hold off. If you want me to, just message me back. But they own a local pizza place. They said they would be all about moving into the KC Current Stadium. I don't want to mention their name on air because I don't know if they want that public. But yeah.
Do they want to we call it C&G Pizza, but they just handle the operations?
No, I think they want their current pizza place to be in there. Why not? You never know. I do think they should try to keep it local, and it sounds like maybe they will. KC
With
Current.
us.
Joe's KC again. That was the news today from the KC Current.
I'm trying to see if this news about the Grinders. They have not announced. Their only food partnership that's been announced.
Oh, just today. Just Joe's today. Yeah.
We'll see. Someone's mentioning essentially just like Bosco sticks is what he's describing. For the
they had those in elementary school
Yeah.
or junior high. You know, it was like the Bosco sticks were pretty popular. Food offering. You know.
Someone says we can just call it G&C Pizza.
Oh, flip it because of the copyright? Sure, fine. That makes sense. Okay.
Are you sure there's not a G&C pizza?
Because Temlin's right. Cody, you keep saying it's similar. It's the same. You can't just have the exact same name.
No ampersand. We can just be the word spelled out. G&C.
That's more for signage, man. We're out. That costs us more for signage.
It also sounds a little bit too much like GNC, which I'm concerned about at that point. But
is it pizzeria or is it like that might be?
Hold on, there's C&G
be,
Pizza. What if we're just C&G Pizzeria?
That might save it.
Problem solved.
That does solve it.
Trademark it.
We're a pizzeria. We're fine. I don't know what the difference is there, but
C&G Pizza Shop.
Sure.
I like pizzeria. Much flashier across the name.
Oh, goodness.
If you search C&G Pizzeria, nothing comes up. So we're square. Well, the only thing that comes up is that same place in New Hampshire.
Shout out C&G Pizza, New Hampshire. Drew's like, what the hell
I never
are
go to
you
New
guys
Hampshire when I go
talking
there.
about?
He wasn't privy to the first
I'm
time
egging
we
it
tried to
on, though.
start it.
I'm all about this. I like it.
Tomorrow we're back at it. We'll have Kling join us. Of course, be on the sideline this Sunday afternoon at Arrowhead. We'll get a little What's Your Fantasy. We'll also hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes tomorrow on the show right here on 610 Sports Radio.
Cody and Gold.